the supreme dragon of the era of Tamers. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 226 Unlimited Firepower. Good performance, but it's just a futile effort. If they want to fight head-on, even a beast-taming team composed of 6 elite beast tamers will retreat in front of such a beast tide, not to mention a temporary team of 3 new beast tamers. Zhang Yan looked at the picture displayed on the big screen, with a bit of worry and curiosity on his face. But judging from the characteristics of the field, the ice and snow field released by the Void Frost Dragon now is the 6th level skill, the Frozen Absolute Domain. That is a rare skill that only ice pets of the king race and above have a chance to master. There are very few ice pets in Donghu that can awaken or learn this skill, but what are these 2 overlapping ice and snow fields? Zhang Yan couldn't help but sigh in amazement. This is an improved version of the Frozen Absolute Domain. Chen Wei can make improvements and innovations to the 6th level skills. Such a beast tamer can be called a rare master in the field of beast taming. Tan Zuking took a sip from the water cup, her flowing golden hair swaying in the breeze, and then she spoke softly. Improving and innovating the 6th order skills, is this really something a new beast master can accomplish? Zhang Yan looked at Chen Wei on the screen and was a little absent-minded. Even the so-called genius monster has a limit. You know, beast masters below the king level, even master level beast masters, will only train their pet skill proficiency to quickly improve their pet's combat power, or combine different skills of their pets to form unique combo skills. After all, history can only remember the strong. High-level skills that can be recognized by the Beastmaster Association and can be passed down from generation to generation among pets are powerful skills that can be improved and developed through dozens of generations of Beastmasters and the test of time. Even though Zhang Yan is now a lecturer at Rosewood University and a king-level Beastmaster, she still feels that she can't improve a 6th order skill into a skill that is suitable for her pet and has a better and more powerful effect. But Chen Wei did it. Rather than attributing this to Chen Wei's evil talent, she is more inclined to believe that there is a force behind Chen Wei teaching. Because most beast-taming families will retain some extremely powerful and secret skills that are not passed on to others as the foundation of the family. Thinking of this, Zhang Yan was silent for a moment, and glanced at Professor Tan beside him without leaving a trace. Now start to build momentum for Chen Wei. Could it be that Director Han intends to let his disciples become the future leaders of the new generation? Fuck, looking at the hundreds of green ice sculptures created by his pet in the distance, Su Kun showed a surprised look on his face, and his eyes couldn't help but look at Chen Wei beside him. Others don't know the strength of their pets, but as a beast tamer, how can he not know? If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he really couldn't believe that his pet could release such a powerful green blood erosion, and still retain sufficient source power in his body. In normal times, even if the frost green chicken exhausted all its strength, the green blood erosion skill it released would only be 1/3 of the power of this attack at most, and even the area covered by the freezing attack could not be so wide and huge. Thinking of this, Su Kun couldn't help swallowing his saliva, and fell into deep thought. It doesn't matter if my pet can't learn the 6th level ice domain skill of Frozen Absolute Domain. As a beast master, I can help it find a big guy to back it up and form a team. After all, under this Frozen Absolute Domain skill, my pet can exert strength far beyond its own several times. Such a great partner given by God must not be missed. Sensing the Beastmaster's inner thoughts, the Frost Jade Chicken nodded in agreement, and looked at Kai Ling with admiration. It was the first time it encountered such a terrifying and incomparable strengthening skill. It even wanted to raise its head and cry out loudly because of the endless source of power in its body at this time. The chicken has been wandering for half a lifetime, and I only regret that I have never met a wise master. The battle is not over yet. Continue to attack. Seeing Su Kun standing there in a daze, Guan Kingxin's eyes flashed with helplessness. He slapped his shoulder to remind him and then commanded the pet, take advantage of now, and defeat them with the stormy waves. Sure enough, the next second, the ice sculptures that were still unable to move just now began to resist, and the surface of the ice sculptures was also broken on a large scale. The 3 purple crystal horn dragons immediately broke free from the azure ice, and then turned into 3 purple lights and rushed towards the distant enemy at lightning speed. The stone-chasing fierce horses, heavy mud crystal lizards, and wind sand crystal spiders, which were a beat slower in breaking free from the azure ice, activated their own racial skills. In an instant, the 8 stone-chasing fierce horses stepped on the ground together, and the earth-yellow source power light flashed wildly. The earth began to break and crack, and countless broken rocks burst out, making a whistling sonic boom in the air. The 6 heavy mud crystal lizards flicked their tails, and large waves of mud and sand swept towards the distant enemy like the sky falling. The remaining 23 wind sand crystal spiders joined forces to launch a huge wind sand crystal storm that rushed out into the sky, which was formed by the mixture of wind and sand and crystal source power. The scene of the earth shattering was enough to scare the Beastmaster. As for the group of alien beasts behind them, most of the 4th order lower level beasts could not break free from the shackles caused by the erosion of the azure blood for a while. Damn it! Looking at the terrifying aura of the source power rioting in the distance and the countless colorful skill attacks, Guan Qingxin subconsciously glanced at the beautiful dragon that was still accumulating power in the air, and her bright eyes couldn't help but reveal a trace of despair. Don't say that the strength is only at the upper level of the 3rd level. Even the upper level of the 4th level dragon will be destroyed in front of such a beast tide. Despite this, she didn't activate the Cogming stone bracelet in her hand until the last moment. At this time, the dragonfish Blue King, which had been brewing for a long time, was ready. Around its body, dozens of surging water columns gathered into a huge wave. A blue light flashed in the eyes of the dragonfish Blue King, and the surging floods rushed to meet the attack of the alien beasts. Continue to attack with a green blood erosion. Looking at the seemingly unstoppable attack, Su Kun gritted his teeth and ordered. The next second, a mushroom cloud like a small nuclear bomb exploded at the moment when the 2 attacks intersected, and the sound of explosions continued. Seeing that the incoming broken rocks, sand waves, and wind and sand crystal storms were still astonishing, Chen Wei smiled. Keiling, let them see the real unlimited firepower. Keiling's eyes were full of seriousness. And then a series of high-pitched dragon roars sounded continuously. The ice forged in the frozen land was constantly breaking and condensing into dozens of silver-blue majestic ice dragons. The moment the ice dragon appeared, the terrifying extreme cold suddenly descended, like the end of the world, and countless terrifying ice tornadoes rose from the ground at this moment. Chapter 227, Total Destruction. At the same time, the mysterious silver-blue lines on the dark gold dragon horns and the edges of the limbs of Keiling suddenly burst into dazzling light. A majestic aura like the pressure of a real dragon enveloped the maze on the 3rd floor in an instant, and the purple crystal horned dragon, which had fallen into a state of madness, felt such a strong pressure, and regained some reason, and uttered a whine that seemed to be surrender. All the alien beasts behind the purple crystal horned dragon could not help but feel awe for the upper dragon clan in their hearts, and the action of casting racial skills also stopped. The next second, in the extremely horrified eyes of Guan Qingxin and Su Kun, it seemed that endless ice tornadoes rose into the sky, annihilating all the skills launched by the alien beasts in the distance, and also enveloped all the alien beasts not far away. Boom! A stream of vast ice source power that was like destroying the world burst out in the maze, and the crazy energy spread rapidly and swept in all directions. Feeling the destructive ice energy erupting in the distance and the shock wave that was about to hit, Guan Qingxin and Su Kun trembled slightly, and their faces suddenly turned pale. Under such an attack, they actually felt the danger of death. Guan Qingxin and Su Kun did not think about it, and directly activated the high-level defense source device at the bottom of the box. Even their mental power was always in contact with the Cogming stone bracelet, ready to exit the underground maze at any time. Seeing this, Chen Wei's pupils suddenly shrank, and he hurriedly reminded the 2 candidates not far away, shouting, "The ice storm is about to erupt, quickly activate the defense source device." Although he knew that the power of Keiling's skills would increase several times after she transformed into an infinite firepower turret, the amazing scene in front of him still surprised him. As soon as the voice fell, Chen Wei hurriedly hugged Yutong and the shrunken Keiling in his arms, and then activated the earth barrier on his body, which was a defense source device that could fully withstand the full force of the 6th-level middle-level alien beast. In the blink of an eye, the madly spreading frost and shock wave spread as fast as lightning, and the rapidly falling temperature instantly enveloped nearly half of the 3rd-level maze. Kazikazi, under the tense gaze of the crowd, countless subtle sounds continued to sound, and a terrifying thunderous roar suddenly sounded, and the ice that froze everything began to explode and shatter. The alien beasts with strength below the 4th level in the distance were directly turned into fragments in the constantly exploding ice explosion, leaving only countless tiny red ice crystals. The explosion continued, and countless earth-shattering and terrifying infinite ice tornadoes played their last after effects after turning everything within a kilometer into ice and snow. The frost of the tornado that soared into the sky seemed to distort the surrounding space fluctuations. The only one who could stop this terrifying source of power, dragon-devouring Mangrove, quietly looked at the colorful spirit in Chen Wei's arms, with a bit of desire in his eyes, but he had no intention of taking action. The whole world seemed to be dyed white by the frost and cold air. The biting cold wind blew, and when Chen Wei opened his eyes, there were irregular ice blocks all around. Sensing the strong wind blowing overhead, he subconsciously looked up, and a huge hole with a radius of several thousand meters suddenly appeared in front of Chen Wei. Could it be that K-Ling directly broke through the earth maze? Chen Wei looked around, then looked at the huge bottomless hole above, and then couldn't help swallowing his throat. Candidates shouldn't have to pay for the damage caused in the actual combat assessment. Probably, cap. Oh, not bad. After K-Ling took a look at the damage she had caused, her dragon eyes lit up slightly, and then her face immediately showed a regretful expression that this level was not strong enough. Meow, big sister is so strong. Yutong, who saw such a big scene for the first time, opened her mouth slightly, and looked at K-Ling with shining eyes, as if she had found a target to chase. Well done, have you solved all the monsters? Chen Wei asked softly. There are still 3 alien beasts lying in ambush 400 meters ahead. K-Ling looked at the ice rock in the distance with disdain. Even the 4th level upper level purple crystal horn dragon could not hide from her spiritual perception. Cough cough cough, continuous coughs sounded in the silent maze. Looking at Guan Qingxin, whose hair was full of ice crystals, and Su Kun, who was covered in dust not far away, Chen Wei said, "Sorry, this is the first time I used this skill with all my strength, and I almost affected you." Su Kun wiped the frost off his face, and then looked at the scene in front of him with a shocked face. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. If someone else told him that a 3rd level upper level pet could directly destroy a small-scale beast tide composed of hundreds of alien beasts with one skill, including dozens of 4th level and above alien beasts, he would probably think that person was crazy and didn't even use any realistic logic. But at this time, it was himself who witnessed this scene with his own eyes. At this time, he just felt as if he was dreaming. Su Kun was silent for a while, then he looked at his pet, the frost green chicken, and suddenly slapped it. Coo. Hello, are you Chen Wei? Guan Qingxin suddenly asked, the beast-taming genius rated SSS by Yu Yingxing. Yes, Chen Wei replied casually, his eyes still fixed on the direction indicated by K-Ling. Let's talk later. There are still 3 beasts that have not been dealt with. Hearing this, Guan Qingxin was slightly stunned. How could there be beasts that survived such a terrifying attack just now? Frost-taming ice explosion, Chen Wei ordered. The next second, blue light appeared in K-Ling's eyes. Boom boom. At this time, a thunder-like explosion sounded in the place covered with frost in front, and several roars of the purple crystal horned dragon before death suddenly appeared in the mushroom cloud mixed with fine ice crystals. It seemed to be the last straw that broke the camel's back. The purple crystal horned dragon, which was already seriously injured and dying, ushered in the final curtain in the ice explosion. At this point, the group of beasts that attacked the maze were completely destroyed. Chapter 228 Contractual Restrictions. Boom. After finally getting through the first 2 levels, Yu Zilmin, who was planning to continue looking for exotic beasts to fight and show off herself, only felt that the ground under her feet was wailing constantly, followed by a violent shaking. What's going on? Yu Zilmin blinked her beautiful eyes, and walked forward more cautiously. Xiaolan, pay attention to the enemies around you. On her right, a nice falcon with a blue-silver head, white feathers on its back and wings, and triangular blue spots on its eyes was alerting its beastmaster to the surrounding situation. This is a top elite race, a wind and frost ice falcon with a strength of the 2nd level middle, and an evolved form of the high-level extraordinary race blue frost ice falcon. If it weren't for the limitation of her own 2nd level source star, Yu Zilmin would have evolved a wind and frost ice falcon into a transcendent leader race, the swift wind ice falcon, of ice and wind according to the family's secret evolutionary route. However, when the strength of the beastmaster and the pet is the same, the pet's race is more than 2 levels higher than the beastmaster's source star cultivation, which will suppress the beastmaster's strength, and the binding force of the beast control contract on the pet will be reduced to the minimum, or even enough for the pet to unilaterally tear up the contract. In short, If the special innate talent of the Beastmaster is not counted, the Beastmaster's Source Star Level 1 can contract a high-level extraordinary race of beasts across 2 levels, and the Source Star Level 2 can contract an elite race across 2 levels. By analogy, the Source Star Level 3 can contract a leader race, and the Source Star Level 4 can contract a king race. There is no way. For the weak Beastmasters in the early stage, the higher the race level of the beast, the greater the gap in the nature of life between humans and beasts, and it is more difficult to gain recognition between the two. Perhaps the Beastmaster can take advantage of the weak larval stage of the alien beast to force the Beastmaster to sign the Beastmaster contract, but as the strength of the cub grows, the Beastmasters who fail to maintain the strength gap or get the recognition of the alien beast during this period mostly die from the backlash caused by the pet beast forcibly breaking free from the Beastmaster contract. Under these countless tragic examples, over time, the Beastmasters on Blue Star finally understood that the higher the race level of the alien beast, the higher the life level, and the higher the pride they bring to their hearts. This kind of pride is like the high-ranking humans who will not succumb to the countless ants that they can kill with one foot. Because of this, on Blue Star, only the human masters who have cultivated to a certain level in the Source Star can be recognized by powerful alien beasts. Similarly, most Beastmasters will only look for alien beasts with higher race levels. Therefore, although Yu Zilman felt that her initial pet, the Frost Falcon, had been completely tamed by her, she still did not dare to evolve the Frost Falcon into a leader of the race. The bloody cases in the family serve as a warning to future generations. The Beastmasters who died in the mouths of their pets were all fools who thought they had formed a perfect bond with their pets. Therefore, even if there was only a 1 in 10,000 chance, she did not dare to let the Frost Falcon evolve again, thus pinning her life and death on the thoughts of her pet. As the person and the pet slowly moved forward, a very cold air suddenly blew over, and Yu Zilman could not help but shiver. Looking at the ice-covered venue in the distance, she found that more than a dozen candidates were standing in front of them for a long time without moving. Strange, why are they all standing here? Curious, Yu Zilman strode forward, and then her pupils suddenly shrank. What is this? The road ahead had already broken and collapsed, leaving only a huge dark pit with a diameter of about several thousand meters. Yu Zilman walked to the edge of the cliff and looked down. What caught her eye was countless broken ice crystals that were bottomless. Even though she claimed to have seen the world, she couldn't help swallowing her throat. This is only the 3rd level of the maze. Could it be that a 5th-order commander-level beast had fought here before? Her heart skipped a beat, and Chen Wei's figure subconsciously emerged in her mind. Then she gritted her teeth and jumped onto the ice-covered cliff. Xiaolan, let's go, Li. In the surprised eyes of the examinees, the Frost Falcon turned into blue-white light to catch the Beastmaster, and then continued to fly to the lower level. At this time, in the monitoring room of Rosewood University, a dazzling light flashed on the big screen, dyeing the picture white. Looking at the beast that was defeated in an instant and Chen Wei who was cautiously finishing off the beast in the end, Zhang Yan's pretty face suddenly froze, and her throat seemed to be stuck. She couldn't even make a sound. She just felt that this slap in the face came too quickly, and her face was a little hot. Even the Rosewood University teachers who were responsible for selecting high-quality disciples on the side cast their fiery eyes on Chen Wei in disbelief, and then there was silence. The whole audience was silent. If these teachers were just curious, or just looking for fun to confirm the qualifications and rumored talents of Director Han's new disciple, then there are only 6 words in their hearts to describe him now. This boy is so terrifying. Director Han is indeed a discerning person. He actually found such a terrifying beast-taming genius from the 3rd-level city of Shushan City. No, judging from the shocking attack just now, this boy can barely be considered a beast-tamer. This thought suddenly flashed through the mind of a teacher who looked amiable, of medium build, and wearing a pair of black-framed glasses. He looked at Professor Tan with a little more envy. After a while, Zhang Yan spoke up to break the silence in the monitoring room. She pursed her lips and said with some hesitation, "The power of the ice tornado just now seems to be comparable to that of a 4th-level Cheyenne missile. A 4th-level Cheyenne missile is enough to wipe out hundreds of 4th-level exotic beasts in a large-scale beast tide, and its power even exceeds the full-force attack of a 5th-level lower-level pet. It's just that the attack range of the skills released by the pet beast can't directly cover everything within 100 miles like the Cheyenne missile." Hearing this, Tan Zuking stared at the boy on the screen with her bright eyes, and her red lips slightly opened. "It's not that exaggerated. Although the power of the dozens of ice tornadoes that exploded together reached the lower level of the 5th level, the attack range covered by the skills is at most only 1/10 of the 4th level SYNOPSIS missile. Hearing this, Zhang Yan's full chest could not help but rise and fall rapidly. Is this human talk? The 3rd level upper level Kongming Frost Dragon can cross the level and defeat the small-scale beast tide composed of 4th level alien beasts with one strike. It is already an outrageous story that opens the door to outrageousness equals outrageous to the end. This is enough to refresh any beastmaster's understanding of the word evil. What's more, if the skills released by the Kongming Frost Dragon cultivated by Chen Wei at the 3rd level upper level can really cause the same attack range and power as the 4th level SYNOPSIS missile, she believes that the Beast Taming Association will train Chen Wei to become an epic level strong man, even if it squanders high-level beast resources. Chapter 229 A Wave of Blood Profit. Fortunately, I didn't let Kailing use the Dragon Yuan state. Chen Wei took out the 3 4th level magic cores buried under the ice and put them into the star ring. Kailing, who uses the Dragon Yuan state, can increase his strength in a short period of time, and can even increase his strength by a whole level. The damage caused by the time is not comparable to the small scene in front of him. However, activating the Dragon Yuan state requires consuming the rare Dragon Yuan in Kailing's body, which can be said to be a little less, so if it is not a critical moment, Chen Wei will generally try to avoid Kailing using this state. After all, the growing Dragon Yuan in Kailing's body is a special energy that he has cultivated by using the power of the dragon every day, and he can't afford to waste it at all. You know, the extremely sublimated Dragon Yuan can allow Kailing to perfectly transform into a real dragon species with terrifying potential in the future. Hello, I'm Guan Kingston, this is Su Kun, thank you for your help. The girl stared at Chen Wei with a pair of purple eyes, her expression tender and moving. Chen Wei showed a friendly smile on his face. Hello, classmate, do you want to have a friendly battle? Guan Kingston, the corner of her mouth twitched slightly, and her eyes glanced uncontrollably at the terrifying iceland in the distance. She was planning to get closer to this promising beast-taming genius, not for a battle. Just kidding, not to mention that she was alone. Even if Su Kun was added, they couldn't beat the pervert in front of them. No need. Guan Kingston shook her head and touched the dragon-fished Lu King beside her. I'm not your opponent. If she had wanted to test the gold content of this SSS-level beast-taming genius before, but after witnessing the scene just now, she didn't want to abuse him. In this case, according to the assessment rules, you have to give me a beast-taming resource obtained in the maze. Hearing this, Guan Kingston was stunned, and didn't react for a while, and forced a smile on her face. Okay, this guy couldn't be a steel straight man. A beautiful woman came forward to get close to him, not to mention exchanging contact information, but this guy only had eyes for beast resources. Chen Wei nodded, and then looked at the handsome boy on the other side. I admit defeat, too. This is the amethyst I got in the maze. Without thinking, Su Kun took out an oval purple crystal from the star ring, and the surface of the crystal exuded a purple glow from light to dark. Su Kun now has only one idea, that is, to get closer to the big man in front of him and see if he can let his pet learn the frozen absolute domain. Even if the Frost Jade Chicken cannot learn the frozen absolute domain, it's okay as long as he can become friends or teammates with this big man. After all, the beast battle is not just a single-player battle, but also a team-assisted battle. In general, he is determined to hold on to this thigh. Seeing that this boy is so sensible, Chen Wei doesn't force it. Yu Tong's battle training plan was declared over before it even started. Amethyst, a level 4 earth and crystal dual element beast controlling resource, one of the evolutionary resources of the gem doll. Amethyst powder can also be applied to the surface of earth and crystal dual element pets to improve their defense and resistance to attacks. After taking the amethyst from Su Kun, Chen Wei looked at Guan Kingston. The girl glanced at the fluffy Yutong on Chen Wei's shoulder without leaving a trace, and took out a black crystal from the star ring. The black crystal was a bit creepy just by looking at it. Black Spirit Crystal, a level 5 crystal and dark dual element beast controlling resource. After refining the crystal pet, there is an extremely slim chance that the rare dark attribute will be obtained. Seeing the stone in Guan Kingston's hand, Chen Wei's pupils suddenly shrank. Although the Black Spirit Crystal is only a level 5 beast controlling resource, if we talk about the price, rarity and actual effect of the Black Spirit Crystal, it can be completely comparable to the level 6 beast controlling resource. Guan Kingston actually gave away such a rare beast controlling resource. As for Sukun on the side, he couldn't help but blink his eyes, with a look of disbelief on his face. He had been thinking about the black spirit crystal in Guan Kingson's hand for a long time, but unfortunately he hadn't been able to get it until now. What made him even more unacceptable was that Guan Kingson actually chose to give the black spirit crystal to Chen Wei, who had only met him once, rather than sell it to himself at a high price. Although he was holding back a rage in his heart, Sukun still didn't speak out to stop him. After all, in the final analysis, the owner of this black spirit crystal was Guan Kingson, and he had no right to interfere, and even dared not to interfere. Any beast resource is enough, there is no need for such a precious beast resource, Chen Wei reminded. Black spirit crystals can only be born in places that have not seen the sun for many years, where the dark source power is rich, and where a large number of dark beasts live in black crystal veins are buried. According to the source power environment of the Earth Maze, it is impossible for such a rare treasure as black spirit crystal to be born. I hope you can accept it. If it weren't for you, I might have withdrawn from the actual combat assessment. Guan Kingson's delicate face just showed a touch of bright red, and her expression was a little shy. Actor Sukun couldn't help but curse in his heart. He and Guan Kingson have been friends for many years. How could he not know what this young lady was thinking? How could Guan Kingson, who has always been elegant and generous, show a shy expression like a little girl on her face? What kind of thank you gift? It's obvious that she has taken a fancy to my future big brother with a promising future. Yes, that's right. Just the double frozen domain displayed by Kongming Shuangjiao before, he was already willing to admit defeat, not to mention the terrifying power of destroying hundreds of monsters with a wave of his hand. The strong will only surrender to the stronger. In the absence of a conflict of interest, if he can get in touch with this demon with unlimited future, he will naturally be willing to do it. Just when Sukun was about to tease the young lady, an extremely cold, murderous look came from Guan Kingson's eyes. Shut up, if you dare to disturb my good deeds, I will kill you. After realizing this, Sukun's expression froze and he kept silent. There was no other way. He could play and make trouble at ordinary times, but he couldn't stand it if he really made Guan Kingson angry. In Zitan City, the Guan family is one of the best beast-controlling families. And the Su family is one of the vassal families of the Guan family. If he offended Miss Guan, his father would beat him first. Thank you. Seeing that Guan Kingson still insisted, Chen Wei took the black spirit crystal, and then turned around and searched for the magic cores dropped by the dead beasts on the ground covered with ice and snow with Kaling Gaiwatuong. It must be said that this wave of blood profit. The magic cores dropped by these hundreds of beasts alone are enough for him to repay Yu Zilman's 50 million star coins, and even have surplus star coins. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 230 Future Development. After a while, under the perception of K Ling's spiritual power, Chen Wei quickly collected the magic cores that fell on the battlefield, a total of 203. There were 171 third-level magic cores of extraordinary race beasts, 29 fourth-level magic cores of elite race beasts, and 3 fourth-level upper-level purple crystal horned dragon magic cores of the ruling race. It seems that I have to let K Ling restrain herself a little next time. There are hundreds of magic cores crushed by the ice tornado skill alone. How many star coins will be lost? Chen Wei sighed slightly. Adhering to the principle of not wasting, he collected some crystals and magic core fragments with a large loss of source power in the white jade box, intending to use them as fertilizer for Bailua's spiritual plant space medicinal field. But these 203 good quality magic cores should be worth 200 million star coins in total. After counting the star coins he earned this time, Chen Wei's mood did not improve, but became more painful. Although he made 200 million directly in this wave, the magic core destroyed by K Ling's skills is also worth 100 million star coins. In the past, this was the amount he could only earn by working hard to refine the falling star pill for more than half a year. Fortunately, the falling star pill was the first level pill with the highest success rate and the highest selling price. Otherwise, if he changed to other pills, he would need at least 1 or 2 years to earn so many star coins. Thinking of this, Chen Wei couldn't help but smack his lips and sighed in his heart. The gold belt of killing and arson, It turns out that the magic cores on the alien beasts are the fastest to make money. However, even if he sighed, Chen Wei still had no idea of making money by killing alien beasts. Not to mention the need to risk his life. The key is how many alien beasts can an ordinary beastmaster kill in a month? Even a high-level beastmaster like Su Kun, if he is unlucky, may only get dozens of third-level magic cores in a month. Besides, during the exploration, the existence of fellow beastmasters encountered in secret places or in the wild may be more dangerous than the dangers brought by strange beasts. With the power of dragon control and the technology of refining medicine, Chen Wei does not need to take risks to obtain beast control resources. He only needs to take steady steps to develop into a powerful beastmaster. Li, a familiar falcon cry sounded. At this moment, a blue-white light fell from the sky. Chen Wei looked up and saw that it was Yu Zilman. Tens of thousands of candidates in the Earth Maze were teleported at once, and I can meet this one. Surprised, Chen Wei took the initiative to say hello. What a coincidence. Do you want to team up next? The practical assessment of Zidane University did not prohibit candidates from teaming up, because the coordinated battle of beast control in the team is also one of the ways for candidates to show their talent and strength. After all, pure combat power cannot be used to measure and evaluate the future talent and potential of new beastmasters. Some auxiliary beastmasters who have a buff effect and a healing effect on pets also need a team to truly show their abilities. Therefore, the assessment results of the Earth Labyrinth are not based on the number of levels that the examinees have passed. Because they are afraid that some unskilled examinees will reach deeper levels through the beast control team, thus raising the evaluation that does not match their own abilities. If they team up together next, and let K-Ling cast the double ice-sealed absolute domain to strengthen the Wind and Frost Ice Falcon, it may be able to improve Yu Zilman's actual combat assessment evaluation. Yu Zilman glanced at Guan Kingxin and Su Kun, who were treating their pets not far away, and bit her teeth lightly. Damn, I was here first, this thought flashed through her mind. Facing Chen Wei's invitation, she smiled and nodded. Okay, then, Yu Zilman asked with a smile, by the way, who are these two? Hearing this, Chen Wei was slightly stunned. Weren't these two the beast control geniuses you introduced on the road before? Why are you pretending not to know them now? Chen Wei, these are the examinees I met on the third floor of the maze, Guan Kingxin and Su Kun. At this time, the huge pit in the sky vaguely appeared many figures riding flying pets, and they seemed to be flying towards him quickly. Time is limited, let's go. Chen Wei prepared to take Yu Zilman to continue moving forward. First come first served. If you are one step behind others, you can only pick up the remaining beast resources of others. Wait a minute, can the two of us join your team? Guan Kingxin asked. Chen Wei wanted to refuse, but when he thought of the black spirit crystal that he had just put into the star ring, he nodded. Guan Kingxin had the black spirit crystal in her hand, which meant that she or her family might have the superior resources of the black spirit crystal, the 6th level crystal, and the dark dual system, black spirit crystal essence. As the essence condensed from the black spirit crystal, the black spirit crystal essence can greatly improve the pet's compatibility with the dark system, and there is a 9-layer probability that the pet will obtain extremely rare dark attributes. For Yutong's future evolutionary form, Chen Wei actually prefers the attribute growth of the 3 systems of light, fire and crystal, but unfortunately, the beast resources of the crystal and light dual system are rarer than the crystal and dark dual system beast resources. If it is really impossible to find resources of both crystal and light in the future, perhaps the unprecedented 3-attribute pet of dark fire crystal is also a good choice. On the other side, watching the transaction process between Chen Wei and Guan Kingxin, dragon-devouring Mangrove suddenly had an idea. Before serving as the invigilator of this practical assessment, the beastmaster of his family had told him that if he met a new beastmaster with good talent during the invigilation, he could use 1 or 2 dragon blood fruits for further testing, and she would accept the suitable beastmaster as a disciple at that time. Of course, dragon-devouring Mangrove ignored these words and planned to fool them directly. Just kidding, as a senior fisherman, this dragon blood fruit is what he usually uses for fishing. No, it is used as bait for fishing dragons. How can he have extra bait for some mediocre beastmasters? But when he thought of the tempting smell coming from Chen Wei and the desire that made him want to swallow it in one gulp, dragon-devouring Mangrove began to feel that bait was just an external thing. What dignity of a fisherman, only delicious dragon blood was really fragrant. Next, Chen Wei's team of 4 continued to move to the next level. Perhaps because of the previous beast tide, they did not encounter many exotic beasts along the way. The occasional 4th level lower level wind and sand crystal spiders were dealt with by Chen Wei and Yu Zilman. Under the strengthening blessing of the double frozen absolute domain, even the 2nd level lower level wind and frost falcon could cause considerable damage to the wind and sand crystal spider with long range skills, but it could not be completely defeated. After letting the wind and frost falcon jump 2 levels to perform a wave of battle, Chen Wei signaled K Ling to kill it instantly. After a few times, feeling the huge gap between the two sides, the previously unruly wind and frost falcon gradually lowered its proud head in front of K Ling. Yi, there's a forest ahead, and there are dragon resources. K Ling, who looked lazy, suddenly raised his head and reminded him seriously. Chapter 231 Stone-Splitting Iron Dragon. At this time, not to mention K Ling, even the blue dragonfish king, who had just finished fighting and looked a little tired, stared at the distance with his eyes wide open. Blood began to flow from his eyes at some point, and his slightly opened mouth was instantly dripping with water stains. The blue dragonfish king, who couldn't wait, flicked his tail, and the surging water on his body immediately carried him away. "Stop!" Guan Kingxin shouted anxiously. However, the blue dragonfish king above ignored the order of the beast master and galloped faster. Seeing this, Frost Jade Chicken and Wind Frost Ice Falcon were at a loss, not knowing what was going on. "Su Kun, Yu Zilman, is the pet backlashing? Brother Wei, help me stop it," Guan Kingxin asked hurriedly. In her opinion, only Chen Wei could stop the blue dragonfish king's crazy behavior in the shortest time. "Block with telekinesis," Chen Wei ordered. K Ling's pale golden dragon eyes flickered, and the majestic invisible power instantly enveloped the dragonfish blue king. The strong mental fluctuations immediately made the greedy dragonfish blue king's brain go blank, which also made its galloping figure suddenly stagnate, and then boom, fell to the ground. In order to prevent his pet from continuing to be affected by the unknown, Guan Kingxin quickly took out a bottle of purple potion from the star ring and poured it on the dragonfish blue king. Under the effect of the sedative potion, the blood red in the dragonfish blue king's eyes began to dissipate. Gurgle, sorry, realizing what he had done, the dragonfish blue king looked a little ashamed. After asking a few questions about the reason, Guan Kingxin thought about it and put the dragonfish blue king directly into the star ring for safety. Is it only attractive to dragon pets? But why did K Ling react so calmly, looking at the scene in front of him? Chen Wei thought to himself. And unlike the sensitive reaction of the pet, at this time, the dragon controlling power in his source star did not show any signs of fluctuation. There are dragon resources ahead that will drive your dragon pet crazy. Do you want to go take a look? Guan Kingxin looked at the colorful spirit on Chen Wei's wrist with some curiosity. Strange, they are both dragon pets. Why did the blue dragonfish king lose his mind in an instant, while this empty frost dragon remained unmoved? Sensing Guan Kingxin's gaze, a trace of disdain flashed in the eyes of the colorful spirit. Chen Wei nodded slightly, and walked ahead with the colorful spirit and Yutong. Soon, Chen Wei and his friends came to a silent and dark forest. Walking into the forest, the atmosphere inside the jungle was a bit gloomy and terrifying. Apart from the dense trees, there seemed to be no trace of any life living. However, the next second, Yin, with a roar, a strange beast with red dragon scales on its body, but its back, abdomen and limbs were covered with thick black rock-like armor, and the red spikes on its back from head to tail connected to a black horn-like film, suddenly appeared in front of them. It has 3 sharp black dragon claws on its hind legs standing upright on the ground, and a sickle-like scimitar claw on its short front 2 limbs, exuding a strong sense of command and pressure. Name of pet, Pishy Iron Dragon. Pet attribute, dragon. Earth, racial level, transcendent command, strength level, 4th order upper, racial skills. Destruction dragon shock, iron dragon armor, Pishy dragon claw, pressure. The perspective spirit eyes were activated, and the information of the strange beast in front of him immediately came into Chen Wei's eyes. As a leader race, Pishy iron dragon is a famous mixed blood dragon species, belonging to the earth dragon class, and has a certain probability of evolving into a sub-dragon species, or a precious dragon species of the king race, steel sub-dragon. You should know that dragon-type pets are the most popular in Donghua. The previous amethyst horned dragon is fine. This kind of mixed blood dragon species has limited evolutionary roots and low potential, but it is indeed a bit beyond Chen Wei's imagination to be able to encounter Pishy Iron Dragon in the actual combat assessment. This kind of precious dragon species, no matter what kind of beastmaster encounters it, will breed, cultivate and protect it, and who would be willing to let it go out to die? It is worthy of being a practical assessment of Zidian University, and the 4 words wealthy and powerful are highlighted. Chen Wei looked at Guan Qingxin and Su Kun beside him. Do you have any ideas about this dragon? Guan Qingxin shook her head. Her pet dragonfish Lu King could not fight yet, and she had no intention of taking the risk of fighting. Seeing this, Su Kun also gave up. The Frost Jade Chicken alone could not beat the 4th level upper level stone-splitting Iron Dragon. Before they finished discussing, the sickle-like claws of the stone-splitting Iron Dragon suddenly emerged with powerful dragon source power, and the aura it exuded became more terrifying. Stone-splitting Dragon Claw plus pressure. Chen Wei instantly knew the skills launched by the stone-splitting Iron Dragon. The next second, the stone-splitting Iron Dragon roared, and the terrifying aura even made the Frost Jade Chicken retreat several steps, but Keiling and Yutong looked indifferent. Seeing this, the stone-splitting Iron Dragon's eyes flashed with a fierce light, and its huge body turned into a black light and disappeared on the spot. In the blink of an eye, it crossed a distance of dozens of meters. The sharp claws that seemed to be made of black iron accelerated in vain and attacked Yu Zilmin, the weakest target. Faced with such a rapid attack, Chen Wei did not dare to be careless. Ice and frost surround, the ring-shaped protection formed by the cold air instantly intended to block the stone-splitting Iron Dragon from outside, but the stone-splitting Iron Dragon did not intend to retreat, and fearlessly collided the dragon claws with the ice and frost surround head-on. Boom! A deafening explosion sounded, and a figure suddenly rushed out from the ice crystals and smoke scattered around. It was the stone-splitting Iron Dragon that retreated more than 10 meters due to the impact. At this time, its right claw was covered with icy frost. Looking at the stone-splitting Iron Dragon full of fighting spirit, Chen Wei smiled. Dragon power. The next second, a terrifying dragon power that shook the earth and the sky suddenly poured out from Keiling's petite body. The stone-splitting dragon found it somewhat unbelievable that, as the dragon's might intimidated and oppressed him, his body actually began to tremble in terror under this powerful mental pressure, and he even wanted to kneel down and surrender. Yin, the stone-splitting dragon, who refused to admit defeat, stared at Keiling with his blood-red eyes. A dazzling bright light lit up from the red spikes on his head, and then spread along his back to his tail to gather momentum. Want to fight to the death and launch a big move? Chen Wei immediately discovered the abnormality on the stone-splitting dragon's body. The space mirrors cracked, he conveyed his thoughts. Giving up the speed advantage and intending to turn the tables with a last blow, the stone-splitting dragon suddenly appeared around the hazy silver space ripples, freezing it into a smooth mirror. The extremely strong space fluctuations broke out in an instant, and countless spider web-like black cracks spread and devoured the stone-splitting dragon's body. Plop! Most of the stone-splitting dragon's lower body disappeared in an instant, leaving only some parts that might contain magic cores. Such a terrifying beast was solved so easily. Looking at this shocking scene, Yu Zilmin couldn't help swallowing. Even Guan Qingxin and Su Kun, who had seen big scenes before, pursed their lips subconsciously, and the other looked at Chen Wei with a brighter look. Chapter 232 Dragon Blood Exchange. Taking out the magic core of the stone-splitting Iron Dragon, Chen Wei walked towards the southeast. As the distance kept getting closer, he could sense that the dragon-controlling power in his source star was fluctuating, but the fluctuation was not large, very slight, and even had a faint sense of danger. This made Chen Wei more confused. 3 minutes later, smelling the sweet fragrance that permeated the forest, Chen Wei's pace gradually slowed down, and finally stopped in front of a huge mangrove. He looked up and saw a dragon-shaped fruit that was red all over and circling like a long dragon hanging on a thick branch. Dragon blood fruit, a level 6 dragon beast controlling resource, a dragon treasure bred with countless dragon blood as nutrients. The fragrance it exudes is extremely attractive to dragon beasts, even enough to make dragon beasts lose their minds. After eating and refining, there is a certain probability that dragon pets will awaken the power hidden in the dragon bloodline. Looking at the dragon blood fruit in front of him, Chen Wei couldn't help but smile a little more. Even Keiling subconsciously moved from his wrist to his shoulder, her majestic dragon eyes staring at the dragon blood fruit, with a little desire in her heart. Guan Qingxin, who was standing by, stared at the dragon blood fruit in a daze, and then her bright eyes suddenly burst into a light of surprise. As a native beastmaster in Zitan City, she had naturally heard of the famous dragon blood fruit, and even knew the specific source of the dragon blood fruit. With the power and connections of the Guan family in Zitan City, they could only buy 3 dragon blood fruits from Director Han throughout the year, because this resource was too scarce, and only the most direct bloodline of the family was eligible to obtain it. It was not that the family did not want to buy more dragon blood fruits at a high price, but with Director Han's power and status, being able to buy 3 was already the limit of the Guan family's ability. After all, a pharmacist who had stepped into the Grandmaster stage half a step away did not care about the resources and star coins obtained from selling dragon blood fruits. If your pet, the Blue King Dragonfish, could obtain a dragon blood fruit, it might evolve into a dragon pet with even greater potential and strength in the future. Thinking of this, Guan Kingshan tilted her head and looked at Chen Wei. Su Kun and Yu Zilman were not worth worrying about, only this man was the biggest threat. Just when Guan Kingshan was about to discuss, Chen Wei saw through her thoughts at a glance and said directly, according to the assessment rules, the winner gets everything. Hearing this, Guan Kingshan froze on the spot. With her strength, how could she compete with this monster Chen Wei? She pursed her lips, the star ring flickered, and 3 pitch-black crystals appeared in her hand. She proposed unwillingly, if you give me this dragon blood fruit, these 3 black spirit crystals will be yours. Chen Wei shook his head. I still want the dragon blood fruit more. Guan Kingshan's face darkened. At this moment, a magnetic voice suddenly sounded. Isn't it a bit rude to talk about this in front of the owner of the fruit? Everyone immediately looked at the source of the voice, and a graceful figure quietly appeared in front of them. Tree Spirit, looking at the petite figure that suddenly appeared on the branches of the mangrove. Chen Wei and the other 4 subconsciously stepped back a few steps, their faces full of vigilance. The tree spirit has slender ears, and from the appearance alone, it looks a bit like a legendary elf. She is mini and petite, and looks only about 1 meter tall, like an exquisite doll. Waist-length green hair falls behind her like a waterfall, and there is a red and gold exquisite bracelet on her right wrist. A pair of quiet and indifferent eyes can make people feel a lot calmer just by looking at it quietly. The curvy, fowl-like figure is covered with layers of natural dresses made of flowers and leaves. Under the short skirt made of flowers, a pair of black silk jade feet are firmly stepped on the mangrove. Based on this alone, Chen Wei can be sure that this tree spirit is definitely an alien beast with an owner, otherwise it would never have clothes produced in the human world. Unlike before, the strange beasts encountered during the actual combat assessment may be killed at will, but this tree spirit is obviously not allowed, because this is a pet with a background, and its strength may be extremely good. Thinking of this, Chen Wei did not dare to activate the perspective spirit eyes, but simply used the identification talent to prevent himself from accidentally offending this strange beast. After all, without the consent of others, activating the perspective spirit eyes to peek at them easily arouses the hostility of the other party. Pet name, unknown elf. Pet attribute, racial level. It was blocked by the unknown source of power, and I can't see the detailed information at all. It seems that this tree spirit has the spiritual skill of concealing its breath, and its strength is probably above the 6th level. Chen Wei blinked in surprise, and he felt relieved. Although he didn't know why a terrifying existence above the 6th level suddenly appeared in the actual combat assessment, it was obviously a prearranged arrangement of Zidian University, and it shouldn't be life-threatening. Guan Kingshan reacted faster than Chen Wei. At this time, she was excitedly looking at the dreamlike elf in front of her. Epic masters are all-powerful beings that are hard to find. This is the first time she has seen the legendary epic overlord beast, dragon-devouring mangrove, which is a terrifying existence that can tear a real dragon apart alive. For fear of offending this extremely powerful senior, Guan Kingshan suppressed her excitement and said carefully, Sir, I apologize for our impoliteness. I wonder if I can buy a dragon blood fruit from you. As soon as the voice fell, Guan Kingshan bowed with a thick face. Sir, hearing this, Chen Wei and the other 2 were suddenly shocked. This title can only be used by powerful people above the epic level. The elf in front of them, which makes people's hearts beat, is actually an overlord beast above the 7th level. Is this the 7th level overlord of the same level as Bailuo? Judging from the appearance, it really has no deterrent power at all. Chen Wei looked at the elf in front of him with admiration. The elf looked at the black spirit crystal in Guan Kingshan's hand with interest. Are you going to exchange the black spirit crystal for a dragon blood fruit? Yes, please help me, Guan Kingshan replied seriously. The elf smiled, raised her hands, and the dragon blood fruit on the red tree fell into her palm. The Iron Dragon is just the first test. Want dragon blood fruit? I only accept dragon blood in exchange. At this point, the elf glanced at the colorful spirit on Chen Wei's wrist, and a little desire surged in her heart. Guan Qingxin was startled when he heard the words, and a faint light flashed between his fingers. He subconsciously summoned his pet. As soon as the blue dragon fish king appeared, he began to lose his mind because of the fragrance of the dragon blood fruit, and was about to fall into a state of madness. The blood of the blue dragon fish king is not dragon blood. Seeing this, the elf shook his head with disgust. Chapter 233, Endless Entanglement. The blood of half-blood dragons is too inferior. The blood of pure-blood dragons meets my requirements. After the elf sighed softly, a wooden bowl the size of a basketball suddenly appeared in its hand. It's easy to get dragon blood fruit. Fill this wooden bowl with dragon blood that meets the requirements and you can get one. Looking at this wooden bowl that can hold 7 or 8 liters of blood, Chen Wei chose to remain silent. Although the effect of the dragon blood fruit after refining is indeed unparalleled, he will not let K Ling sell blood for a fruit. Seeing Guan Qingxin fall into deep thought, the elf turned his head to look at Chen Wei, who looked very pleasing to the eye. This guy is the target he wants to conquer. Suppressing the excitement and desire in his heart, the elf chose to take the initiative. For example, the dragon blood on this dragon meets the requirements, it reminded. Guan Qingxin, who had no dragon blood on his body, had his eyes lit up and immediately looked at Chen Wei with expectation. With a huge body of the Kongming Frost Dragon, he might be able to exchange for a few more dragon blood fruits, and then he might be able to get one. Guan Qingxin, 5 black spirit crystals, Chen Wei, his eyelids twitched, and a few ominous premonitions surged in his mind. I always feel that it's a bit deliberate. Could it be that my pet is being targeted by this elf? Sensing Guan Qingxin's eager gaze, Chen Wei shook his head and decisively rejected it. Sorry to bother you, I'll leave now. As soon as he finished speaking, he turned and left. Although Chen Wei didn't know what this elf wanted to do with K Ling's dragon blood, he just had to avoid it. However, the next second, the elf's voice suddenly rang out. Wait a minute. Seeing that Chen Wei began to doubt, the elf said with a bit of temptation in his words. This dragon blood fruit can enhance the potential of dragon pets and awaken the hidden power in the dragon bloodline. It may even allow your dragon to advance to the 4th level. Are you sure you want to leave? Sorry, I really can't afford so much dragon blood. Chen Wei stopped and walked away without hesitation. Yu Zilman followed closely behind him. Only Guan Qingxin and Su Kun stayed where they were, and it seemed that they were still trying to fight for it. So, this small team that had just been formed broke up in front of the tempting benefits. Damn it, looking at the background of Chen Wei's departure, the elf couldn't help but clench her fist. If it weren't for the restrictions of the Beastmaster, and the fact that the boy looked really good, she wouldn't let Chen Wei leave so easily. The 6th floor of the Earth Maze. Yu Zilman took out a scribbled map from the star ring, which recorded the route she and Chen Wei had taken. Another dead end. After adding this route to the map, she secretly glanced at Chen Wei, who remained silent on the road. K Ling, does that elf have bad intentions towards you? Yi, Cyrillic lettered X. Yes, it wants to eat me. At this time, K Ling's body trembled slightly. Unlike others, she felt a strong threat and greed from the elf, and could even faintly hear the death wails of countless dragons. It was simply a dragon killer. Although K Ling didn't want to admit it, she was indeed no match for the elf now. Don't worry, the overlords above the 7th level are not unknown people. When the time comes, you can get the specific information of the elf by asking the teacher. After comforting K Ling, Chen Wei repelled the 4th level lower level beast that attacked from behind with a fire fist, and then a burst of extremely cold dragon breath came out of K Ling's mouth, and the giant rat with sharp rocks all over its body instantly turned into an ugly ice sculpture. At this time, the Feng Shuang ice falcon flying in the air directly smashed the ice sculpture with an ice blade. Chen Wei immediately looked at the time. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, and there were still 5 hours before the end of the assessment. Let's take a break first. Chen Wei closed his eyes and began to meditate and rest. Previously, under the blessing of the double frozen domain of K Ling, Yu Zilman commanded the Frost Falcon to surpass 1 level and defeated the 3rd level lower level Wind Sandstone Spider. But the Frost Falcon was also close to exhaustion and needed to rest and heal for a while. With this record, perhaps Yu Zilman's chance of entering Rosewood University can be increased a lot. As for Chen Wei's own results, He believed that the performance of the beast type alone was enough to make him rank first in this practical assessment. "Thank you," a clear female voice suddenly sounded in the silent maze. At this time, Yu Zilman looked at Chen Wei with gratitude. Although the third-level lower-level wind sandstone spider is the weakest alien beast on the 6th floor, without the blessing of the frozen domain, the frost falcon would never be able to show such a strong strength. "Chen Wei, don't say these. If I really want to thank you, I still owe you 50 million huge star coins." Hearing this, Yu Zilman smiled slightly. It must be said that until now, she was sincerely proud of her vision, and even wished that Chen Wei would borrow more star coins from her. Although this was very vulgar, she really didn't know what else she had to keep in touch with Chen Wei except star coins. After all, when it comes to wealth and power, let alone the Guan family, even its vassal family, the Su family, is dozens of times stronger than the Shushan Yu family. At this moment, there was a loud bang, and 5 rock-hoofed horned sheep with 2 curved horns on their heads, rubble under their heads, and 4 feet made of dark rocks emerged from the ground. "The mutton is delivered to your door." Chen Wei's eyes lit up. Dragon meat and mutton were available, and he didn't know if there was any high-quality beef produced in this maze. "K-Ling, get rid of them." These 5 top elite races, the lower-level rock-hoofed horned sheep of the 4th order, had no power to fight back in front of K-Ling. In just 1 second, they were instantly turned into ice sculptures by the terrifying frost tornado. However, the next second, 5 red fruits suddenly appeared on the 5 thick ice sculptures. Is this an illusion? Seeing this scene, Chen Wei blinked in disbelief, but as expected, the 5 dragon blood fruits still did not disappear. "How about a bowl of dragon blood in exchange for 5 dragon blood fruits?" Chen Wei looked to the right, and sure enough, the elf that he thought he had gotten rid of suddenly appeared beside him. Seeing this, his heart tightened. If it was just a guess before, then Chen Wei could now be sure that this elf came for the dragon blood on K-Ling. You know, for a king beast master, a dragon may be very rare. But for a 7th level overlord beast, a rare dragon is just a weak ant. This strange elf is so obsessed with K-Ling, either because of the dragon essence on K-Ling, or because of the strengthening of his own dragon power, which is why he decisively refused to exchange. Chapter 234 Transaction completed. Professor Tan, isn't this against the rules? Zheng Yan frowned slightly as she watched the elf approaching Chen Wei again on the screen. As an invigilator, it was not against the rules for the dragon-devouring mangrove to conduct a combat test on the candidate she liked during the actual combat assessment. However, if the candidate had clearly refused, the dragon-devouring mangrove would still choose to pester him, which would be suspected of disturbing the order of the examination room. Upon hearing this, the other teachers in the monitoring room immediately looked at Zheng Yan with surprise. A young and brave man is not afraid of a tiger. As expected of a new young teacher, he dared to question the behavior of Senior Hongling. Based on Senior Hongling's current behavior, this is not considered a violation of the assessment rules. Tan Zuking shook her head. In the final analysis, this is the teacher's contracted pet, and as a disciple, it is not easy for me to interfere without authorization. Besides, Senior Hongling's behavior was just a little bit out of line, and it could not be considered a violation. Even if Senior Hongling violated the rules, with her power and status, she could decide whether the actual combat assessment violated the rules or not. As long as she said no, there was no violation. After all, the strong decide everything, and the weak can only accept everything. Seeing this, Zheng Yan remained silent and cast her eyes on the big screen. The elf with a quiet and calm temperament before has disappeared without a trace. She saw a pair of beautiful eyes flashing with some pain, and gritted her teeth and said, "Boy, now you only need a bowl of dragon blood to exchange for 5 dragon blood fruits. Do you want to exchange?" Seeing that the elf's originally cold voice, like a spring flowing in the mountains, suddenly became aggressive, Chen Wei was dumbfounded. How much does this elf like the dragon blood on K-Ling? Seeing that Chen Wei remained silent, a breathtaking and terrifying aura suddenly erupted from the elf. Unlike other level 6 resources, it needs the blood essence and corpse of a king-level dragon beast to breed precious dragon blood fruit, and the whole body blood and remains of a level 6 king-level dragon beast can only breed 5 dragon blood fruits at most. To a certain extent, the value of the 5 dragon blood fruits it took out is enough to be compared with a dragon pet cub of the king race. You know, even if it is a 7th level dragon-eating mangrove, it is easy to deal with dragon beasts, but first you have to find a dragon beast. Even with dragon blood fruit as bait, dragon beasts are not easy to encounter. It can only catch 1 or 2 dragon beasts throughout the year. These 5 dragon blood fruits have already exhausted all its blood. It is just a little dragon blood of a 3rd level flood dragon. If Chen Wei still chooses to refuse, it really doesn't know what it will do. At this time, feeling that the air flowing around him suddenly disappeared, his body seemed to be frozen and unable to move, and the speed of Chen Wei's heartbeat became more and more intense. Fearing that Chen Wei would go too far, after showing his strength, the elf looked at Chen Wei expectantly and asked, "Do you want to change?" Chen Wei glanced at the colorful spirit on his wrist, who was unwilling to be outdone, and after calming the emotions of his pet, he decisively shook his head and refused. No. The more anxious the elf was now, the more he didn't want to sell the dragon blood of the colorful spirit. With Teacher Han as a backer, he didn't believe that this elf dared to take action in public, even if this elf was a 7th level overlord. Damn kid, the elf widened his eyes and stared at Chen Wei with cold eyes. You forced me to do it. Seeing that Chen Wei was not moved by soft or hard words, the elf had no choice but to use the last trump card. You are the disciple of Han Jiao, and I am Jiao's partner. If we talk about a relationship, it's not too much for you to call me uncle. In short, my uncle is in trouble now. If he can't drink dragon blood, he will die. Will you help me? The elf played the emotional card with a stiff upper lip. Although he didn't know why this kid was secretly hostile to him, compared with the food, all this was irrelevant. Chen Wei, this unexpected reversal directly confused him. This inexplicably weird elf was actually the teacher's pet? This, looking at the big screen, Tan Zuking touched his forehead speechlessly. Although I know that Master Hongling has always liked dragon blood, this performance is too exaggerated. It seems that this Kongming Frost Dragon has a lot of secrets hidden in it, otherwise it would not make Master so covetous, even without any face. What do you mean? Seeing Chen Wei did not say anything, the elf continued to ask. Sure enough, what is coming will come. Looking at the elf who claimed to be Master Uncle, Chen Wei said, May I know Master Uncle's name? Just call me Master Uncle Hongling. In fact, Chen Wei had expected this situation. After all, the magic hidden in K-Ling can be concealed for a while, but not forever. There will always be people who are interested to find out that something is wrong. Fortunately, there are many special mutant dragon species with extraordinary talents on Blue Star. It is normal to have 1 or 2 cases occasionally. Perhaps this can be used to conceal his second talent. Is it okay? K-Ling, Chen Wei conveyed his thoughts. Even if this elf is Master Uncle, as long as K-Ling disagrees, he still dares to refuse, although such a resolute behavior will attract more suspicion. No problem, K-Ling looked at the elf with some fear, but still chose to agree. As long as it is not the essence of blood, a simple bowl of dragon blood is insignificant to her. What's more, she has actually been craving for dragon blood fruit for a long time, and even her saliva is almost flowing out. Chen Wei, changed. As soon as the voice fell, Hongling hurriedly handed the wooden bowl in her hand to Chen Wei, fearing that this newly recognized nephew would go back on his word. Then, K-Ling used her dark blue claws to cut a tiny wound on her body. Under her control, a stream of dragon blood with a faint fishy smell flowed into the wooden bowl like a narrow red silk. During this process, Uncle Hongling's eyes became brighter and brighter. Yes, you are the nephew I like the most in the past 200 years. If you encounter any problems in Zidian University in the future, tell Uncle, I will protect you. After saying that, it handed 5 dragon blood fruits to Chen Wei, and then stared at the dragon blood in the wooden bowl. Now I have another powerful partner. I don't know whether this is a blessing or a curse, Chen Wei thought helplessly. Soon, the wooden bowl was filled with dragon blood, and even the wound that K-Ling had cut before healed in an instant. Under Yu Zhoumin's surprised eyes, a friendly and harmonious transaction was successfully completed. Smelling the sweet and tempting aroma wafting from the wooden bowl, Hongling couldn't help but take a sip of dragon blood, and then her delicate face showed a full of happiness. This dragon blood is amazing. Chapter 235 Dragon Blood Fruit. Hongling, who originally wanted to take a sip and keep it for later tasting, could not help but take one sip after another, and could not stop. It tastes so good, Hongling could not help but fall into intoxication. To be frank, in its hundreds of years of life, this bowl of dragon blood is the best. You should know that at least 4 7th-level epic dragons have died in its hands in the past few hundred years, and there are countless 6th-level king-level dragon beasts. However, the dragon blood of this Kongming Frost Jiao is even more delicious than the blood of the 7th level epic dragon, which is really incredible. Because according to common sense, the higher the level of dragon beast, the purer the blood source power in its body will be, such as the ground monster dragon that Hongling knew. Although that monster dragon is a hybrid mutant dragon, its dragon blood is not only rich in source energy but also very difficult to drink. But after it became a 7th level overlord, the dragon blood contained in its dragon blood is not only much purer, but also tastes delicious. Therefore, even though this little bit of dragon blood from a 3rd level flood dragon could not bring any enhancement to herself, and had no other enhancement effects except for the delicious taste and the kind of ecstasy, Hongling could not help but feel excited when she thought that such delicious dragon blood would become even more delicious in the future. Is it so delicious? Seeing this elf squinting his eyes and swallowing his dragon blood in big mouthfuls, with an intoxicated look on his face, the curious K-Ling licked the remaining dragon blood on his wound with his tongue. Yee, not delicious. K-Ling smacked her lips, and her pale golden dragon eyes looked at Chen Wei, and then issued an invitation. Yee, take a bite. No need. Chen Wei subconsciously refused. Looking at Yu Zilman on the side, Chen Wei turned his head and said to Hongling, Uncle Master, we still have an assessment to go on, so I'll leave first. Wait. Hongling, who came to his senses, immediately called Chen Wei, who wanted to leave. It stared at K-Ling for a while, and a trace of pain flashed across its beautiful face. Junior apprentice, 1 bowl of dragon blood is not enough. Can I have 1 bowl a day? To be honest, if it could drink such delicious dragon blood every day, it could even give up its hobby of fishing dragons. However, it was too expensive to have 5 dragon blood fruits for 1 bowl of dragon blood. It had only saved more than 50 dragon blood fruits in its private savings over the years, which could not even support its consumption for half a month. 1 bowl a day? If so much blood is accumulated over the years, it will definitely affect K-Ling's condition. Chen Wei frowned. Still 5 for 1 bowl. He didn't believe that his uncle had so many dragon blood fruits, otherwise one Kinkson wouldn't care so much. Looking at the dragon blood in his bowl, Hongling finally made up his mind. He saw it spread its soft hands, and a fiery red fruit with dragon scale-like patterns on the skin suddenly appeared in its hand. For 10 years, 30 bowls of dragon blood every month, as long as you agree, this dragon blood fruit is yours. Hongling looked at the strange fruit in her hand reluctantly. This thing is her ultimate bait, specially used to catch epic dragons above level 7. There's only one treasure like this. If you really want to talk about its value, even if several level 8 legendary beast resources are added together, it is completely incomparable. Dragon blood fruit, level 7 dragon beast resource, a strange fruit condensed from the essence of a real dragon. The birth of each dragon blood fruit represents the death of several level 7 epic real dragons. As a high-level dragon evolution material, the dragon pet that takes it will definitely evolve successfully, and the race level is not lower than the epic overlord, and it can deeply awaken the ancient power hidden in the blood of the dragon pet. It must be said that this dragon blood fruit is very tempting. The moment this strange fruit appeared, K-Ling couldn't take her eyes off it, and even Chen Wei himself was a little absent-minded. It will definitely evolve successfully. What kind of divine resource is this? If I can get this dragon blood fruit, I may be able to create an ice and fire dragon, youth version, that represents destruction and confrontation. You know, that is the legendary dominant dragon species that can end everything. Only the time candle dragon of the time system can be slightly better than it. Chen Wei does not ask for 1/10 of the power of the original version, even if it is only 1%, or 1,000th of the power, it can crush the so-called legendary dragon species. 5 years, 10 bowls of dragon blood every month, Chen Wei offered a low price under K-Ling's anxious eyes. As the saying goes, if you ask for a high price, you will pay it back. You can't bargain these days. Okay, but the 5 years are up to me. Hongling nodded without thinking. Deal. Chen Wei smiled. Profit. Although 10 bowls of dragon blood every month consume a lot, it is still within the tolerance range of K-Ling. If too much blood is consumed, he can also use the power of the dragon to strengthen it to make up for the consumption of K-Ling. Unlike the optional dragon blood fruit, this time it is a big win to get the dragon blood fruit. Hongling glanced at the surrounding skies. Nephew, although I blocked the sound of our conversation, there are many people here. Giving you the dragon blood fruit directly will only bring you trouble. I will keep it for you first. You can come to me anytime you need it. Chen Wei nodded excitedly. I thought that the Brilliant King race was the endpoint of K Ling's next evolution. Now it seems that at least K Ling can win an epic overlord race. I just don't know if my source star can withstand it. After all, when I was in the second level of the source star, I evolved K Ling into a leader race from the third level. At that time, the beast control contract was not torn up by K Ling. If my source star reaches the fourth level, I should be able to barely maintain the K Ling beast control contract that evolved into the overlord race. Unlike other beast masters who are afraid of the backlash of pet beasts, Chen Wei finds it difficult to imagine the scene of K Ling backlashing himself. Moreover, his innate dragon-controlling power will form a strong bond in the process of subtle strengthening, and this bond is even stronger than the beast-controlling contract. It was 5 o'clock in the morning, and there were still 3 hours before the end of the actual combat assessment. Looking at the background of the two people leaving, Hong Ling's bright eyes showed some expectations. If you don't want to sacrifice the child, you can't catch the wolf. The dragon blood of the third-level dragon can make it so memorable. When this dragon reaches the 6th or 7th level, the dragon blood at that time will be equivalent to the supreme treasure. When it thought of this, it couldn't wait. However, it takes about 10 years for a third-level dragon to grow into a 6th-level king. In order to speed up this progress, it did not hesitate to spend a lot of money and took out its treasures at the bottom of the box. Dear nephew, you must not let your uncle down. At this time, a clear voice suddenly sounded in the depths of the silent maze. P.S. Thank you Kilthuzadii for the reward of 2,000 starting coins. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your voting and subscription support. Chapter 236 Perfect Evolution. Although there are a lot of beast control resources on the 6th floor of the maze, the roads inside are too tortuous and complicated, which makes it extremely difficult to find beast control resources. Later, Chen Wei did not find a few level 4 beast control resources that deserve special attention. On the way to the treasure hunt, Chen Wei and Yu Zilman occasionally met a team of candidates. These candidates who can go deep into the 6th floor of the Earth Maze are basically elite teams of more than 5 people. Compared with them, Chen Wei and Yu Zilman seem to stand out. But in the absence of beast control resources to compete, few candidate teams want to provoke Chen Wei and the others. After all, candidates who can walk on the 6th floor of the maze are not easy to deal with. In this way, time passed quickly, and in a blink of an eye, it was time for the actual combat assessment to end. Looking at the time displayed on the mobile phone, Chen Wei was thinking about the dragon blood fruit in the hands of Master Hong Ling. He was stunned by the huge surprise before, and now he thinks that it would be a bit too wasteful to use this super rare beast control resource in advance. You must know that the evaluation of the race level is based on the upper limit of the strength and source level of the potential of the alien beast. That is to say, even the epic overlord race has its own rarity and strength. Chen Wei believes that the epic overlord race is not the end of K Ling's future, but the starting point of K Ling. In this case, the dragon blood fruit must be used at the moment when the effect is maximized. According to the most perfect evolution plan, K Ling's ice and fire dragon evolution is now only missing 4 most critical factors. First, the perfect level of the wind and rain evolution skill. Second, K Ling breaks the limit and evolves into a king race without fusing the dragon essence. Third, K Ling's strength reaches the peak of the 6th level and sublimates the dragon essence to the extreme. Of course, if his own dragon controlling power can sublimate the dragon essence to the extreme and advance, he can also evolve in advance. Fourth, a dragon ball above the 7th level epic overlord has a heart. Note, it must be a true dragon species. In Chen Wei's view, the first 3 conditions are easy to meet, but the last condition is extremely difficult. Different from the magic core of the 7th level overlord, the dragon ball is the source of dragon power that can only be bred by the 7th level epic overlord dragon species. The dragon power contained in it far exceeds the magic core of the same level beast. This can be said to be the rarest beast resource, which can only be obtained by killing dragons. Even half-blood dragon species, or even mixed-blood dragon species, have the opportunity to evolve into true dragon species after swallowing the 7th level dragon ball. Of course, gifted dragon species may also walk out of their own path from the absorption and transformation of the dragon ball, thus becoming a special half-blood dragon species, and even surpass the true dragon species in terms of strength. For example, the famous meteoric Tyrannosaurus in ancient times, even the true dragon of the legendary emperor race is just a spicy strip in its mouth. Because of this, in terms of value, Even the 8th level legendary resources are difficult to exchange for a 7th level dragon species Dragon Ball. Even for a senior researcher like Yin Twixen, the 7th level ice and fire resources alone have already cost her a lot of wealth. As for the resources of this level of the 7th level Dragon Ball, let alone buying it, I am afraid she has never even seen it. This is also the reason why Chen Wei couldn't get the Dragon Ball in Yin Twixen's star ring, because even senior researchers can't get this thing. Fortunately, the moment he saw the dragon blood fruit, Chen Wei clearly understood that his teacher or uncle should have a treasure of the level of the 7th level Dragon Ball. Boom! At this moment, a loud noise interrupted Chen Wei's thoughts. He looked up and saw the panting Fen Shuang Ice Falcon nailing a pair of terrifying claws firmly on a petite, breathless black rock yak. As a top elite race, the strength of the black rock yak in the maze is generally in the middle of the 4th level, but the yak in front of him is obviously not yet an adult, and its strength is only the upper 2nd level. Isn't this the top marbled beef? Chen Wei swallowed his throat subconsciously. Unlike other strange beasts that cannot be eaten, the black rock yak is quite rare in the maze. With the help of K Ling, he has now frozen tens of thousands of pounds of beef, and this is the first time he has seen a calf like this. This thing might taste even better, and it would definitely be a great choice for hot pot. Forget the magic core and fur, can you give me the meat from this calf? Hearing this, Yu Zilman was slightly stunned, and then she realized that Chen Wei was also an outstanding chef. Thinking of the lobster 5-course feast that Chen Wei made last time, she began to feel a little hungry. Okay, Chen Wei, okay, I'll ask you to try the marbled steak I made then. The assessment will end in 5 minutes. Tuesday, June 20th, the day the maze assessment ended. After returning to the hotel and washing up, Chen Wei picked up his phone and went to a hot pot restaurant near Rosewood University with Yu Zilman, intending to try whether the meat of the black rock yak was as delicious as described in the beast taming guide. Because the actual combat assessment had just ended not long ago, the surrounding restaurants were full, and even the private rooms of this expensive hot pot restaurant were full, so Chen Wei and the others had to sit in the lobby. As soon as he sat down, Yu Zilman handed over a detailed profile. This is the information of the popular candidates I have collected recently. With your strength, it should not be a problem to win the top 3 in the ranking competition. However, there are 2 unknown dark horses in this practical assessment that you need to pay attention to. Dark horses, surprised, Chen Wei looked down at the profile. Tian Xinghu, a candidate from Taishan No. 1 Middle School in Quanling Province, a 1st level city. Male. Solar Star Cultivation Level 3 Middle Stage. Unknown innate talent. Suspected to be a talent for strengthening the beast control contract. The initial pet is the Dazan Mountain Jiao of the King race. The pet's strength is between the lower 3rd stage and the middle 3rd stage. The normal source energy value of the pet is about 19,000. Gu Zui, a candidate from Linking No. 1 Middle School in Xi'an Province, a 1st level city. Female. Solar Star Cultivation Level 3 Late Stage. Unknown innate talent. Extremely strong mental power. Suspected to be a rare mental enhancement talent. The initial pet is the Kinkson Ice Fox of the King race. The pet's strength is between the middle 3rd stage and the upper 3rd stage. Due to the suppression of the spirit contract, the normal energy value of the Kinkson Ice Fox failed to reach the lower limit of the King race, and was only about 15,000. It is said that Guzui was recognized by the Kinkson Ice Fox because of her super strong mental power when she was young. In order to successfully conclude the beast control contract, the Gu family strongmen used the secret double spirit contract to suppress the strength of the Kinkson Ice Fox. Note, the double spirit contract is a kind of sealing secret method that helps the beast master to contract a high race pet. This secret method can not only improve the potential and strength of the pet in a subtle way, but also effectively shorten the growth and development period of the pet, but it has a lot of disadvantages. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 237 Pet Beast Armor. Good fellow, I thought there were no opponents worth my attention in this ranking competition, but 2 of them suddenly appeared. Chen Wei was slightly lost in thought as he looked at the information in his hand. Although he knew that some old-fashioned beast-controlling families had a deep foundation and possessed many secret methods that broke the convention, this unexpected situation still surprised him a little. Interesting, I wonder if the Dozen Mountain Jiao of the king race is as tough as the beast-controlling illustration says. Chen Wei began to smile excitedly. Compared with the Kingston Ice Fox, he wanted to know more about how strong the Dozen Mountain Jiao, which was also a pure-blooded dragon like Kai Ling, was. Seeing that Chen Wei was not surprised but happy, Yu Zilman could not help but be stunned for a moment. Sure enough, is this the gap in thinking between herself and the genius? Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never lose 100 battles. Candidates who have ideas about the condensing star pill are collecting intelligence information about their opponents as quickly as possible, because the ranking competition will start in 2 days, and time is running out. So on that day, the information of candidates who performed well in the Earth Maze had already been circulated. Behind these gossips, there is naturally the help of some tutors from Zitan University, driven by the Dozen Mountain Dragon, Tianxing, who roamed the 6th floor of the maze with absolute strength, crushing any enemy in front of him. Even with a large number of enemies, no beast could break the defense of the Dozen Mountain Dragon, and its indestructible body never left a single scar. The earth and crystal dual-element beasts, which are famous for their defense, are like fragile paper in front of the rare spiritual skills, and can be torn into pieces at will. Gu Zuwei, a beautiful silver-haired girl holding the Kingston Ice Fox in her arms, does not need to do anything. Any beast that dares to approach her will fall to the ground and die in an instant. Wherever she passes, the beasts retreat and flee. Yu Xianglu, who is like a saint, can heal many severely injured pets with a wave of her hand through the blazing red warm flames of the red warm spirit rabbit. Even injuries like broken arms can be reconnected and healed under the burning of the red warm flames. She has a very strong recovery ability and alchemy skills. Although her combat capability is extremely weak, she is the most perfect auxiliary beastmaster on the battlefield. The above are some extremely powerful new beastmasters. However, in addition to Tianxinghu and Gu Zuwei, Chen Wei's detailed information also appeared in the hands of major candidates, but the candidates who saw it all called it outrageous with disbelief. In a high-end tea room, a girl with a particularly cold temperament is drinking tea alone. She is about 175 centimeters tall, wearing a white and slim long-sleeved shirt. The fullness of her chest is amazing. Her silver hair that falls vertically to her slender waist like a waterfall is particularly eye-catching. Her bright and beautiful face is exquisite. There is also a petite Kingston Ice Fox in her arms, with snow-white hair all over its body and a furry tail hanging down. It looks lovable and is resting. At this time, Gu Zuwei was a little absent-minded looking at the information documents on the coffee table. As a beastmaster, Chen Wei has created an unprecedented evolutionary form of Kongming Frost Dragon. The leader of the race, the Kongming Frost Dragon, whose strength was only at the upper level of the 3rd rank, destroyed a small-scale beast tide of more than 300 beasts with one blow of the ice tornado, including many beasts of the leader of the 4th rank. This terrifying blow even directly opened the passage between the 3rd and 6th levels of the Earth Labyrinth. Chen Wei, the SSS-level beast-taming genius who came out of the 3rd level city, Gu Zuwei murmured. She had some impression of this name. When it was the hottest some time ago, her sister Gu Yuwei, who had mediocre talent, mentioned this name, and seemed to regret missing such a new star with infinite potential. If it was the same person, this beast-tamer with amazing talent seemed to have learned the incomplete 7 stars meditation method of the 3rd uncle. Thinking of this, Gu Zuwei touched Chen Wei's head portrait on the document with her soft hands. One strike to open the Earth Labyrinth. If it's true, the strength of that dragon is probably close to that of a 5th-level leader of alien beasts. Is it possible for a new generation to break through to the master-level beastmaster at the age of 19? Sure enough, reality is even more outrageous than fiction. There is no logic at all. Gu Zuwei sighed, then closed her eyes and began her daily meditation practice. On the other side, a handsome boy with thick eyebrows, a high nose bridge, and a wide mouth gradually opened as he looked at the information in his hand. After reacting, he angrily threw the document in his hand on the ground. What a joke! A 3rd-level upper-level leader race dragon can destroy a small-scale beast tide with one strike and penetrate the passage leading to the 6th floor of the maze. You are here to spread rumors, right? If such a terrifying dragon race can only be led by a transcendent leader, then what kind of brilliant king is the Dozen Mountain Dragon race that I have spent so much effort and resources to contract? I'm afraid it's only the top elite in race level. Tian Xinghu, whose chest was rising and falling rapidly, tilted his head to look at the butler beside him, who seemed to be hesitant to speak. After a long sigh of relief, he said impatiently, "Just say whatever you want to say." The butler was silent for a while, then said, "According to the investigation results, hundreds of candidates who took the test in the Earth Labyrinth saw a huge dark pit with a diameter of about several thousand meters, and the pit was surrounded by extremely cold frost. So this news is true, right?" Tian Xinghu regained his composure. "Yes, master. The possibility of rumors is very low. Teacher Yu from Rosewood University witnessed it with his own eyes." "Damn it." Tian Xinghu turned his head and looked at the blue sky. In order to avoid those three evil monsters, he chose Rosewood University, but he didn't expect to bump into the so-called four heavenly kings in the end. Delicious. The world is big and eating is the biggest. Chen Wei couldn't help but pick up another piece of high-quality waist and back meat from the Black Rock Yak. In order to be fair, he put K Ling and Yutong into the star ring, intending to have a big meal afterwards. Otherwise the beef he had just cleaned and cut temporarily would not be enough for the three pets to enjoy. By the way, according to the competition rules just announced, the day after tomorrow's qualifying round allows Beastmasters to use source weapons. Do you have any source weapons prepared in advance? Yu Zilman asked. Chen Wei was stunned when he heard this, and then nodded. What a strange rule. If you can use source weapons, then those Beastmasters with strong family backgrounds will have an advantage. But if you can really use source weapons, wouldn't you be invincible with the earth barrier on your body? However, when Chen Wei picked up his mobile phone and logged into the official website of Rosewood University, he realized that he had thought too much. Although they can use source weapons, each Beastmaster can only choose one source weapon with a level not higher than the 3rd level, and it can only be a pet weapon type. P.S. Thank you for the 710 starting coins rewarded by Shenwu Yu Yeguang. Thank you for your support. Thank you to all readers for your recent voting and subscription support. Chapter 238, Hall of 10,000 Weapons. The biggest difference between humans and alien beasts is that humans can build and use source weapons to arm themselves. Before the era of beast control, a beastmaster who could defeat an alien beast of the same level with his own strength without relying on a pet beast was already considered a top-notch existence. But in this era, a beastmaster who is fully armed with high-level source weapons can still defeat or even slaughter several alien beasts of the same strength, even without a pet beast to protect him. Similarly, if a pet beast is equipped with an armed source weapon, the pet beast's own strong physical fitness and spellcasting ability, coupled with the armed source weapon carefully crafted by a human forger, can bring the pet beast's strength to the extreme. However, because the beastmaster uses the pet beast weapon, the pet beast's lethality or defense will be greatly improved. If it is not mastered well, it is easy to cause the pet beast to die in the battle. In addition, too much external force can easily affect the beastmaster's cultivation of the pet beast, so generally, the use of pet beast armed source weapons is not allowed in the competition of new beastmasters. On the contrary, professional beastmasters who lick blood on the tip of the knife and adventure to explore secret realms often use it. According to past practice, even the National Beast Taming University Xianjiao competition does not allow students to use any pet beast weapons. This year's qualifying rules have changed so much. Is it possible that some new and epic-making pet beast weapons have been born? Looking at the rules on his phone, Chen Wei fell into deep thought. Although a 3rd-level pet beast weapon has little impact on K Ling's strength, if she misses the first place because of this slight difference, she will be depressed to death. Chen Wei, by the way, do you know any reliable pet beast weapon stores near Zidane University? Hearing this, Yu Zilman did not answer Chen Wei immediately, but thought for a while before speaking to him. The pet weapons produced by Balian Building and Wonki Hall are quite famous, and the quality is unquestionable. The only disadvantage is that the price is a bit expensive. If you want ice-type pet weapons, Balian Building is a good choice, but if you want dragon-type pet weapons, I recommend you to go to Wonki Hall. Chen Wei frowned. He couldn't afford the star coins in his wallet at the moment, which made the rich woman Yu Zilman feel a little expensive. He didn't know whether these shops would accept magic or transactions. Seeing Chen Wei's embarrassment, Yu Zilman smiled and said, "Let's eat first. After dinner, I will take you to the 2 shops to have a look. If you don't have enough star coins, I can help you first." To be honest, if I hadn't met you in the Earth Labyrinth, I might have bought a ticket back to Shushan City now. Chen Wei, it's normal for friends to give and take. This shouldn't be considered as hanging out with a rich woman. Rosewood City. On the finely carved ancient sandalwood plaque, the three large characters "One Key Hall" written in vigorous and elegant strokes are particularly eye-catching. As soon as Yu Zilman and Chen Wei entered the One Key Hall, a girl wearing a cheongsam, with delicate makeup and a sexy figure, immediately came to greet them. Yu Zilman said straight to the point, "Do you have any third-level top-quality dragon pet weapons?" "Yes. Please follow me." The girl's eyes lit up when she heard the words, and the smile on her face became sweeter. She walked in front to lead the way. Like dragon pets, dragon pet weapons are the most expensive, which is naturally a big business for the girl. There are fewer people than I thought. It seems that except for me, the top 100 candidates have basically prepared their pet weapons in advance. Chen Wei glanced at the few beastmasters in the store, and then went to a luxuriously decorated private room with Yu Zilman. "Please wait a moment. There are only 3 third-level top-quality dragon pet weapons in the store. I will get them for you now." After saying that, the girl left the private room directly. However, not long after he sat down, Chen Wei suddenly found that the power of the dragon on his origin star began to fluctuate. This throbbing feeling was exactly the same as the feeling he had when he encountered the dragon blood fruit in the Earth Maze. Could it be possible to find a bargain when buying pet beast weapons this time? Chen Wei was delighted. Chen Wei did not wait for long. Half a minute later, the girl held a jade plate covered with silk in her hand. On the silk were 3 boxes with strange smells and 2 picture books. She placed the jade plate on the table polished by crystal stones, and then handed the picture books to Chen Wei and Yu Zilman in turn with both hands. "Hello, this is a detailed introduction to the 3 dragon pet beast weapons." Chen Wei opened the picture book and took a look. Dragon Wing Armor, a third-level top-grade dragon-type weapon that can automatically shrink according to the size of the pet beast. It can be expanded to a maximum of 8 meters and a minimum of 1 meter. After wearing it, it can increase the power and defense ability of the dragon pet beast's wings. The accompanying skill Rapid Impact can instantly increase the speed and power of the dragon pet by 4 levels in a short period of time. Price? 15 million star coins. Dragon Claw Armor, a third-level top-grade dragon-type armor that can grow and shrink automatically. After wearing it, it can increase the power of the dragon-type pet's claw skills, and the power can be increased by up to 5 levels. If worn for a long time, it can also significantly improve the physical fitness of the dragon pet and the defense of the dragon claw. Price? 35 million star coins. Magic Pearl Necklace, a third-level top-grade dragon-type armor. After wearing it, it can reduce the time for the dragon-type pet to cast all skills. The reduced casting time depends on the strength of the dragon pet. It can shorten the skill charging time by half, and the skill power is increased by 1 level. Note, it is only effective for skills below the 4th level, and the wearer must be a dragon pet. Price? 210 million star coins. My goodness, the pet armor here is really expensive. Chen Wei's pupils suddenly shrank when he saw the price column. The general price of a third-level source device is about 1 million star coins, but it was sold directly for 15 million star coins here. This is the lowest priced armor. This price is a bit too much even for dragon-type pet armor. You know, 15 million star coins can buy a cub of the top elite race. Not to mention the outrageous 210 million star coins, which can buy a transcendent commander cub or a rare 6th-level king resource. How is it? Yu Zilman has been observing Chen Wei since entering the private room. Seeing the surprise on his face, she couldn't help but ask. Except for the first one that doesn't match the colorful spirit at all, the other 2 can only be confirmed after seeing the real thing. Chen Wei shook his head. Sure enough, it's not that easy to pick up a bargain. If the source of his dragon power fluctuations is the first 2 pet beast weapons, it's easy to say, buying them is pure profit, but if it is the 3rd pet beast weapon, he is really not sure whether he is making a profit or a loss. Chapter 239, First Again. Putting aside the price, the magic bead necklace in the Atlas really suits Chen Wei's taste. If K-Ling wants to use the infinite ice tornado to explode in an instant under the blessing of the double-frozen absolute domain, so as to reproduce the scene of the Earth Maze, at least she must prepare for 15 seconds of charging time. However, in the battle between pets, let alone 15 seconds, even a 0.1 second interval between skill casting may become the key to failure. Of course, with K-Ling's perfect level of proficiency, it doesn't even take 1 second to release a single ice tornado. If she adds this magic bead necklace, I'm afraid she can shorten the casting time of the ice tornado to within 0.5 seconds. What is the concept? When other pets are still mobilizing their source power to release skills, Kayling's ice tornado has already hit its face. Open it and take a look. As soon as Chen Wei finished speaking, the girl hurriedly opened the 3 boxes on the table. At that moment, a pair of silver wings as thin as a cicada's wing, a pair of extremely sharp golden dragon claws, and a string of pendants inlaid with transparent magic cores and flowing with colorful light on the necklace appeared in front of Chen Wei and the others. When Chen Wei saw this necklace with exquisite appearance, exquisite workmanship, and mysterious magic core material, the fluctuation of the dragon controlling power became more intense. Noticing that Chen Wei's eyes fell on this necklace, although the girl didn't think that Chen Wei would buy such an outrageous price for pet beast weapons, she still introduced it diligently. This is the dragon-type weapon created by Elder Wu of our Wanqi Hall in an accident. There's only this one in the entire Donghu country. It is a unique treasure. Even Elder Wu, the creator, can't copy a second magic bead necklace, because there are very few pet beast weapons that shorten the skill casting time, coupled with a unique scarcity. This necklace now only costs 210 million star coins. 210 million star coins. Hearing this, Yu Zilman's expression became a little subtle. No wonder this necklace can be seen here. This outrageous price would be a problem if it could be sold. In her opinion, this pet beast weapon is worth tens of millions of star coins at most. Can this necklace be appraised? Chen Wei suddenly asked. Yes. Hearing this, the girl was slightly stunned, but not too surprised. After all, the high price of this necklace will also attract the attention of some beastmasters. However, without exception, those beastmasters were finally discouraged by the outrageous price. After all, the star coins of beastmasters are not blown by the wind. Chen Wei immediately reached out and took off the magic bead necklace. Boom! At this moment, Chen Wei only felt a loud roar in his brain, and he subconsciously clenched his hands. Yu Zilman watched this scene without any intention of dissuading him. Instead, she watched Chen Wei playing with the necklace quietly, and thought about how many star coins were left in her account. Even for the eldest lady of the Yu family, 210 million star coins is a huge number for her. After Chen Wei held the necklace in his hand, the fluctuations and roars of the dragon controlling power in his mind disappeared at this moment. Then he directly activated a perspective spirit eye on the magic bead on the necklace. Item, Unknown Dragon Eye, Level 3? Time-based beast controlling resource. Introduction, Dragon Eye, which contains the power of time and dragon-based power, has the ability to slightly shorten time. Chen Wei's pupils suddenly shrank. Unlike other types of beast-controlling resources, the rare time-based beast-controlling resources cannot be identified by identification skills or talents. I didn't expect that my identification spirit eye could actually see the details of this magic bead. No, that's not right. Chen Wei shook his head, with a vague premonition in his heart. Rather than saying that this is the details identified by the perspective spirit eye, it is better to say that it is a hint from the power of dragon control. Seeing Chen Wei shaking his head, the girl's face was calm. Sure enough, this thing can't be sold at all. However, the next second, Chen Wei suddenly said to the girl, I want this necklace, but I don't have that many star coins on me now, but I like this pet weapon very much. Can you use magic core transactions here? Hearing this, the girl looked embarrassed. Sorry, the 10,000 weapons hall only accepts star coins. Check out. Yu Zilman subconsciously took out a black card from the star ring and handed it to the girl. Looking at her smooth movements, Chen Wei was stunned for a moment. Seeing this, Yu Zilman lifted her long hair with her hand and pretended to be indifferent and said, Don't look at it, you will have to pay this money back later. Realizing that she was a little shy, Chen Wei quickly retracted his gaze. Of course. After purchasing the pet weapon, Chen Wei found a pet training place to test the specific effect of the magic bead necklace. Yu Zilman was more concerned about the assessment results of the Earth Maze, so she returned directly to the hotel. At this time, in the ice and snow training venue, several terrifying ice tornadoes carrying the embers of frost fell continuously erupted in the vast field, and the extremely cold and biting frost instantly destroyed everything around. It must be said that after wearing the necklace, Keiling was able to do such an outrageous thing as instant ice tornadoes. On the contrary, the skill of Frost Dragon Breath, which was already released at an extremely fast speed, did not gain much benefit, and it could even be said to be negligible. In this way, If Chen Wei could not dig out the dragon eye on the magic bead necklace in the future and use it as a time-based beast resource, this would be a completely losing business. 1750 Chen Wei glanced at the time, then turned around and left the ice and snow training field and returned to the hotel. 6 o'clock tonight is when Zhejiang University announces the end of the practical assessment. Yuzomin, theoretical exam. 569 points, source star evaluation, B+ level, practical assessment. 97.91 points, rank 2390th in the Earth Labyrinth. Congratulations on being admitted to Zhejiang University. Looking at the admission notice displayed on the mobile phone screen, Yu Zilman stood up excitedly. I succeeded, so what if I was the last one? Incredibly, she actually succeeded in getting into Rosewood University. Yu Zilman, crying with joy, glanced at Chen Wei, who was smiling beside her, and couldn't help but stretch out her right hand to hug his shoulders. Thank you. In this warm embrace, Chen Wei suddenly found that his shoulder touched a very soft and huge thing. Chen Wei's body froze immediately, and his heart was full of disbelief. He didn't expect that Yu Zilman, who is usually quiet, would be so big. The size was really amazing. Yu Zilman, who was in an excited state, didn't notice these. Instead, she began to pay attention to Chen Wei's grades. Can I see your grades? Chen Wei didn't refuse, and directly showed his mobile phone to Yu Zilman. Chen Wei, theoretical exam. 584 points, source star evaluation, SSS level, practical assessment. 150 points, ranked first in the Earth Maze. Congratulations on being admitted to Rosewood University. Yu Zilman's red lips opened slightly, and she whispered in a mosquito-like voice, "It's you." There was no way. She had been shocked too many times. Now, no matter what big things Chen Wei does, she will not be too surprised. P.S. I am afraid you may think it is unreasonable, so I will explain it here. Only the top 2,000 in the Earth Labyrinth ranking will be admitted. With Yu Zilman's actual combat test results, she would fail to be admitted to Rosewood University, but she was able to be admitted because a teacher used the rare expansion quota. Chapter 240 Completely Famous. On the night when Zhejiang University announced the results, the candidates ranked in the top 100 in the practical assessment began to investigate the intelligence of their opponents in depth. Not only that, they would also conduct targeted research based on the opponent's innate talent, the race of the pet, and the skills of the pet, so as to maximize their ranking. To a certain extent, before the qualifying competition began, the candidates had already spent a lot of energy and preparation on the intelligence war. At this time, Chen Wei skillfully opened the ranking match table announced by Zhejiang University, and found that there was no information about his own match on the first day. He took a closer look and found that his match had been ranked in the top 16, and the opponent was still unknown. After looking at the specific rules of the ranking competition, it turned out that the top 8 candidates in the Earth Maze evaluation would be recommended as seeded players, and they could directly enter the top 16 without having to fight in the early stage. There would be no competition for these seeded players in the next few days. In short, in order to give more talented Beastmasters the opportunity to show themselves in the early stage and ensure the excitement of the later stage of the competition, Zhejiang University specially arranged the seeded players in the top 16. As for the remaining 92 candidates, the competition time is a bit tight. They need to decide 8 winners in the next 2 days. If the loser group competition is included, the players who can make it out of these 92 candidates are basically strong, and there are no players who rely on luck to enter. Finally, these 8 winners will compete with the seeded players for the top 8 and even the honor of the champion. It only takes 4 consecutive wins to win the first place. It turns out that the top candidates still have an advantage. Chen Wei was a little excited when he thought that he could spare 4 days to practice hard. As the top Beastmaster University in Donghua, every time the college entrance examination comes, all kinds of news about the 5 major universities in Donghua are the focus of major news media. At the moment when the first place in the actual combat assessment was announced, these news media hurriedly published a lot of news while the heat was the highest. It is difficult for a poor family to produce a noble son. Chen Wei from Shushan City defeated many popular players and won the first place in the actual combat assessment of Zhejiang University. The most embarrassing scene, the genius Beastmaster trained by the Beastmaster family was defeated by an ordinary Beastmaster from a third-tier city. The proud talent is enough to sweep everything. Who says that lack of resources can't make you a powerful Beastmaster? The 1027th class of Zidian University has a major event that makes the Beastmaster family most embarrassed. What is human nature? It can be said that Chen Wei has become popular inexplicably under the hype of some media, and even Shushan City, a third-level city that is unknown in the eyes of many Beastmasters, has become completely famous. The reason is simple. Beastmaster is an extremely resource-consuming profession. Even if you are a genius, without enough resources, you can only be lost in the crowd. However, Chen Wei, whose parents sacrificed their lives to help the victims evacuate safely and whose background is ordinary, and who grew up in an orphanage since childhood, crushed many talented Beastmasters from famous families by himself. This is definitely a shocking thing for ordinary Beastmasters. You know, most of the Beastmaster resources on Blue Star are concentrated in the Beastmaster Association and the Beastmaster family. Beastmasters who can be admitted to the 5 major universities in Donghua are either rich or noble. Even the so-called poor geniuses, the family forces behind them are not short of star coins, and they have a lot of resources. In general, there are actually quite a few civilian geniuses among the genius Beastmasters who can be admitted to the 5 major universities in Donghua, but behind those geniuses there are some Beastmaster families who invest and contract. Beastmasters like Chen Wei who can become talents without relying on Beastmaster families can be said to be unique. For a while, many Beastmasters from ordinary families regarded Chen Wei as a goal, and hoped that their sons would become successful, leaving their hopes to the next generation. However, at this time, Chen Wei did not know that he had become famous, and he was still working hard to complete the daily dragon power strengthening homework. It's over, another hard day. After the strengthening, Chen Wei lay on the sofa, feeling that his strong body honed with the Tyrant Dragon secret record was a lot weaker. Fortunately, the harvest was also considerable. Yu Tong estimated that she would be able to break through to the lower 3rd level within a month. As the power of the dragon is strengthened, Kailing's aura is also increasing day by day, becoming stronger day by day. Although there is still some distance to break through the 4th level, it is already close to that barrier. Shiji, have a cup. After drinking the spiritual liquid that can quickly restore physical strength, Chen Wei subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief. Finally alive, then, he cast his eyes on the exquisite necklace on Kailing's neck. Extremely rare time-based beast controlling resources. I don't know if it will work on the Star Moon Dragon, although time-based resources are very scarce. Even a 3rd-level time-based resource is not worth the price of 210 million star coins, unless it is a time resource above the 4th level. If it weren't for the reminder of the fluctuation of the dragon controlling power, Chen Wei really didn't dare to spend a lot of money to buy this necklace. The more I owe, the more I owe. This is a huge amount of 260 million star coins, he murmured. Ring, ring, ring. At this moment, the doorbell rang, and Bai Luo immediately hid. Chen Wei tilted his head to look at Kailing, and saw a glimmer in her dragon eyes. With a click, the door opened directly. As expected, what he thought came true. The person who came was Yu Zilman. Seeing his creditor coming to the door, Chen Wei smiled and said, "Is there anything?" Looking at Chen Wei's very pale face, Yu Zilman's pretty face blushed slightly. She subconsciously glanced at the tissues in the trash can and said softly, "Will it disturb you?" Chen Wei quickly got up and sat down, looking at Yu Zilman in surprise. "Why, do you want some tea?" "I don't have coffee here, no." Yu Zilman shook her head, and then a hint of excitement appeared on her face. "Chen Wei, you are completely famous now." Hearing this, Chen Wei was slightly stunned, and immediately picked up his mobile phone to search for his own information. The next second, all kinds of gimmicky news headlines suddenly came into his eyes. Someone is stirring up trouble. Deliberately dragging down the genius of the Beast Tamer family to cause opposition. After reading the news displayed on the screen, Chen Wei had a vague ominous premonition in his heart. Someone was definitely flattering him. It's just a false reputation. After reacting, he shook his head modestly at Yu Zilman. Even if someone is flattering him, what does it matter? Although he didn't know who the villains were, as long as he could still maintain his victory, in the face of absolute strength, this kind of boring flattery was actually a true compliment. Chapter 241 Qualifying Round begins. June 22nd, after the opening ceremony, the first round of the qualifying competition officially began. Know yourself and your enemy, and you will win every battle. In order to obtain more intelligence information, Chen Wei and Yu Zilman came to the lively competition venue in advance, wanting to see if there were any opponents worth noting. However, After watching the fierce competition between the pets for a while, Chen Wei, who was deeply bored, found an excuse to return to the hotel to continue practicing and strengthening the pets. In this way, Chen Wei spent an exhausting day. The qualifying competition on the second day was the final confrontation between the loser group and the winner group, and the 8 players who could enter the top 16 were finally decided, which made the competition more intense. In order to get the last 8 places, these players played their cards, fearing that they would be eliminated because of hiding their cards, and they would not even be able to get into the top 16. After the battle ended that afternoon, the list of the top 16 in the qualifying competition was officially announced, and the specific matchup table was also officially released. At 6 o'clock in the evening, it was still the hot pot restaurant with unique sauce. This is the information I got about the players. Yu Zilman handed over a thick stack of information. The players who can enter the top 16 have at least the 3rd level source star cultivation, and they have pets of the ruling race, and even 2 pets of the king race. Looking at the detailed information on the intelligence, Chen Wei was a little moved, and couldn't help but look up at the elegant girl in front of him. Although he is very good at fighting, Yu Zilman's money ability is really strong in collecting intelligence. As the information in his hand quickly flipped, Chen Wei had a general impression of several players who were more difficult to deal with in this qualifying competition. You don't know until you see it. No wonder no Beastmaster in Shushan City has been admitted to Zidin University for so many years. The gap is really too big. Putting away the information, Chen Wei thought helplessly. But fortunately, with K Ling's help, he only needs to put his hands in his pockets and wait for the result, and he doesn't even need to command. To be honest, in the battle, Chen Wei didn't think his reaction speed could be faster than K Ling. Sometimes there would be a time lag when transmitting commands with thoughts, so he only gave appropriate commands at critical moments, and the rest depended on the performance of K Ling. After all, too many commands from the Beastmaster might interfere with the judgment of the pet. Even if the Beastmaster gave the correct command at the time, if he failed to grasp the opportunity successfully, even the correct command would have loopholes that the Beastmaster could not find in the fast-paced battle. The next day, at dawn, Chen Wei and the others came to the main venue of the qualifying competition. However, there were obviously more spectators who came earlier than them. Before the game started, the spectator seats that could accommodate 5,000 spectators were half full. I'll go to the competition preparation room first, and we'll meet at the old place after the game. After saying this, Chen Wei left the spectator seats and turned to the preparation room for inspection. Soon after, a middle-aged man wearing the uniform of a tutor from Zidin University and with an elegant temperament suddenly appeared on the main stage. As the referee appeared, the big screen behind him began to introduce the information of the top 16 contestants. The last picture stopped at Chen Wei and a handsome man. First match, Chen Wei vs. Su Zufeng. Please come on stage, 2 candidates, and prepare for 1 minute. Although the referee did not shout loudly, his voice was clearly heard throughout the main venue, and even the voices of discussion in the spectator seats were suppressed. Soon, the 2 of them went to the main stage through the contestant channel. Su Zufeng's luck is really bad to meet Chen Wei, who ranks first in actual combat, in the first game. Otherwise, with his strength, he would have a chance to enter the quarterfinals. Those who can be rated as SSS-level geniuses are all monsters. What's the point of playing this game? It's a complete crushing game. What are you bragging about? If he is really that powerful, why don't you let Zidin University end the game and directly award the first place to Chen Wei? Then no one would have to watch the game. No. I think it will be a comeback. Even though there was a distance, Su Zufeng could still roughly hear the discussions coming from the spectator seats not far away, and his face suddenly darkened. Since Zidin University announced the match schedule last night, his friends have sent messages of regret, saying that it is not shameful to lose to the first place. What a joke. The friends around him think that he will lose without even playing, but he just doesn't believe it. So, Su Zufeng, who was full of anger, burst into dazzling light from the star ring on his finger, and a 4-meter-tall red robot suddenly appeared in the dazzling orange rune array. There is a silver-white armor at both ends of its shoulders, and the end of its right hand is connected to 5 huge black cannon barrels. On the outside of its left hand is a red shield about 3 meters long, and inside the shield is a retracted sharp mechanical sword. The chest is also covered with a layer of transparent breastplate, and inside the breastplate is an energy crystal emitting green light. Pet name, Red Devil Mecha, TVIG 57 model, Pet attribute, mechanical system, racial level, transcendent commander, strength level, level 3 middle, racial skills, intelligent combat, transformed armor, mechanical bomb, surrounding force field, full speed laser. At the moment when Su Zufang summoned the red devil mecha, the colorful spirit hidden in Chen Wei's wrist slowly floated into the air. Is this the rumored Kongming Frost Dragon? How come it is so small and has no deterrent power of a dragon, seeing that the Kongming Frost Dragon that she had been looking forward to for a long time was actually a dragon of several dozen centimeters, a little girl in the spectator seat muttered. Unlike most of the audience who looked disappointed, the candidates in the preparation room and the teachers of Rosewood University stared at the small but terrifying dragon with serious eyes. This should be a 6th level dragon skill, sizes as you wish. It seems that Su Zufang has no chance of winning, many discerning Beastmasters sighed. On the other side, to outsiders, Tianxing, who was looking at the dragon on the screen with a calm expression, as if he didn't care at all, but if you look closely, you can see that he is extremely nervous through his frequent and rapid blinking. A minute later, the referee blew the whistle and the battle officially began. Full speed laser, Su Zufang ordered immediately with full concentration. The dazzling light condensed on the black barrel of the red devil mech, but in less than a second, under the surprised eyes of many spectators, a sudden ice tornado instantly turned the surging red devil mech into a beautiful ice sculpture with lightning speed. The noisy voices in the audience suddenly quieted down. The referee was silent for a while, then announced, "The first match is over, Chen Wei wins." "That's it? Instant kill." Many spectators stood up excitedly and applauded enthusiastically. Some spectators also had question marks on their faces. What happened? I missed it. It was just a blink of an eye, and the game was over. It was too fast. Chapter 242 Kinks and Ice Fox. Is it over like this? After hearing the referee's verdict, Su Zufang still couldn't believe that his pet was killed in an instant without even a single move. On the contrary, Chen Wei looked accustomed to it. He bowed slightly as usual, then shook hands with Su Zufang, who had a dull expression, to show his friendship. Finally, he turned around and left the main stage under the shocked eyes of thousands of spectators. With the power of the dragon and the multiple enhancements of high-level dragon crystals, although Kei Ling's current strength is only at the upper level of the 3rd level, her combat power is far beyond this level. Even the Red Devil Mech, which is the leader of the race and has reached the middle level of the 3rd level, is just a small fish in Kei Ling's eyes, and she can't even warm up. After all, when Kei Ling was at the upper level of the 2nd level, she defeated the 3-headed flame dragon, which was the leader of the race and had the strength of the middle level of the 3rd level. What's more, her strength has reached the upper level of the 3rd level now. However, even so, Kei Ling still dislikes that she is too weak. She works overtime every night to practice hard, and she is almost rolling up the atmosphere of practice in the team. Even Bai Luo, who has been playing with his sister in a 5-person team recently, has reduced the number of times he plays with other players. Yu Tong has spent all her energy refining the Great Sun Fire, trying to absorb another ray of the Great Sun True Flame in the shortest possible time. Thinking of this, Chen Wei couldn't help but stretch out his hand to play with the dragon bracelet on his wrist. As expected of an SSS-level genius, he has set the fastest beast control competition record in the history of Rosewood University. The referee looked at Su Zufang, who was stunned, with regret and a bit of envy. He wanted to say something to comfort her, but after thinking about it, he gave up. Poor child. After this incident, to some extent, Su Zufang, the genius beast control master, is completely famous. If Chen Wei, this monster, can become a well-known beast control expert in Donghu in the future, Su Zufang may have a chance to go down in history. Although history will not remember losers, as Chen Wei's opponent who set the record, as Chen Wei's reputation grows, perhaps Su Zufang can be remembered as a background board by people with one sentence, even if he doesn't actually want this good name. Pa. As the contestants left the stage, the first audience to react began to applaud excitedly, followed by thousands of people applauding as if to overturn the venue. Second kill. Wow. What a fast ice tornado. Chen Wei. At this moment, some audience members at the main venue shouted Chen Wei's name loudly, and some stood up and clapped their palms until they turned red. Even the other top 16 players sitting in the preparation room watching the game had different reactions. Some were excited, and some were calm and indifferent. Can you kill Su Zufang in seconds? Su-kun was silent for a while, and asked Kwon Kingson with some disappointment. To be honest, the genius beastmaster who could make it to the top 16 among the talented players was not an ordinary person. He had also seen Su Zufang's previous matches and he was indeed a good opponent. Although he was confident enough to win, he would have to fight him for at least dozens of rounds. If the armed turret of the Red Devil Metro was used properly, his Frost Jade Chicken might have been able to turn over. As a result, such an opponent was killed instantly by Chen Wei. If he played, wouldn't he be killed instantly? Kwon Kingson frowned slightly, thought about it, and finally said in a calm tone, "I can kill Su Zufang within a minute." Su-kun understood immediately and did not ask any more questions. In another preparation room, Tianxing, who watched this scene, his pupils shrank first, and then he said with some disdain, "Grandstanding, it was just a 1-second kill of Su Zufang." This level of attack could not break through the defense of his pet, the Dizan Mountain Jiao. As for Gu Zui, her expression was still very calm. She stood up and prepared to go on stage. The second match was between her and Miao Ranran. If the opponent's pet beast did not have spiritual defense weapons, the spiritual skills of Kingston Ice Fox were enough to kill the beast that led the race in seconds. After witnessing the complete crushing scene just now, she wanted to try to kill a top 16 player in seconds. Back in the preparation room, Chen Wei took out 3 prepared side dishes from the star ring and placed them on the table, and then began to watch the next game through the screen on the wall. Oh, boring, Kayleen complained about the previous battle excitedly, while tasting the tender steak. Yutong looked at Chen Wei with anticipation. Seeing the big sister showing her power, it seemed that she also wanted to go on the field to fight. Next time, Chen Wei smiled. If you lose the previous game, you can still be resurrected in the loser group, but if you lose a game after the top 16, you will miss the championship. Yutong, who is only at the upper level of the second level, is prone to failure. In order to avoid missing out on treasures like the Nixing Pill, Yutong has to be wrong temporarily. On the screen, the battle is about to begin. A snow fox with a body length of about 80 centimeters, snow white hair all over the body, a narrow face, a slightly pointed mouth, short and round ears, and a fluffy tail is floating in the air. Name of pet, Kingston Ice Fox. Pet attributes, spirit, ice, racial level, brilliant king, suppressed, strength level, upper level 3, racial skills, soul illusion, spirit collision, advanced charm, fox eyes focus, frost all over the ground. Looking at this ice fox, Chen Wei's eyes lit up. As a dual-element pet of ice and spirit, Kingston Ice Fox crushes the high-level extraordinary Hanyu snake in both racial level and skills. Moreover, as a pet beast with a spiritual system, the race skill of Kingston Ice Fox, Soul Illusion, is extremely terrifying. The 6th level spiritual skill Soul Illusion will forcibly suppress the opponent's actions at the moment of release, and will ignore the opponent's defense and directly fight with spiritual power. Even if the pet beast can finally withstand the attack of Soul Illusion, it will eventually fall into a state of fatigue due to excessive consumption of spiritual power, and its strength will be greatly reduced. As for the pet beast that cannot withstand the attack of Soul Illusion, it will of course fall into a state of near death, and it is not impossible that it will die at the beginning. Therefore, even among the brilliant king races, Kingston Ice Fox is a very rare pet beast, and it is extremely difficult to contract with it. Even if it is a king-level beastmaster, who has a strong spiritual power, it is still difficult to conclude a contract with Kingston Ice Fox if his personality is not compatible with it. Gu Zui's initial pet beast is Kingston Ice Fox, and her terrifying talent and spiritual power can be imagined. Otherwise, the arrogant Kingston Ice Fox will not take the initiative to surrender to the weak beastmaster. Chapter 243, Successive Victories. Opposite the Kingston Ice Fox, there was a pet that was less than 1 meter tall and looked a bit like a little girl. The emerald green onions covered its head like dense hair. Even though he was watching through the screen, Chen Wei seemed to smell the fragrance of the green onions. Pet name, Onion Fragrance Spirit Girl. Pet attribute, wood. Racial level, Transcendent Commander. Strength level, level 3 middle. Racial skills, Onion Fragrance, Pearl Green Onion Strike, Onion Crown Bomb, Onion Leaf Blade, Weak Toxin. Pet introduction. The green onions growing on the head of the Onion Fragrance Spirit Girl have a weak toxin, but they are extremely delicious. In order to pursue the ultimate freshness and fragrance and taste, many gourmets deliberately do not cook the green onions thoroughly. Therefore, Every year there are gourmets who are sent to the hospital due to onion poisoning, but these foodies still enjoy it. I wonder if a plant-based pet with its own vegetables is as delicious as described in the beast-controlling encyclopedia. Although the racial skills of the onion-scented spirit girl are all activated by onions, it looks a bit funny, but its strength is actually quite strong. If there are enough onions on its head, a single onion crown bomb is enough to kill most of the commanding beasts that covet it. After all, if such a delicious plant-based pet is not strong enough, it would have been eliminated by nature long ago. Meow Ranrun, Chen Wei murmured. To be honest, just for the delicious onions on the head of the onion-scented spirit girl, he wanted to make friends with Meow Ranrun. When Chen Wei was lost in thought, the game had already started. There is a gap between the commanding race and the king race, like a chasm. Even in a suppressed state, the Kinkson Ice Fox, which is one level higher in strength, still suppresses the onion-scented spirit girl. Audience, the previous battle ended within a second, but this was the second battle, and the pets of both sides stood still without moving, not even using any cool skills. 15 seconds later, the Konxiang spirit girl, who was standing there, suddenly fell down, and Meow Ranrun's face turned pale, and she shouted loudly, "Teacher, my pet needs treatment." The next second, the medical teacher instantly appeared on the main stage. After a careful examination, he fed the Konxiang spirit girl a pill. "Don't worry, it's just that the mental power is exhausted. It will be healed after a rest." "Thank you, teacher," Meow Ranrun hurriedly thanked. She thought that the third-level top-grade mental defense pet armed with her prepared could withstand the mental attack of Kinkson Ice Fox, so there might be a chance to defeat the strong with the weak. Unexpectedly, her pet was still caught in the mental power battle, and finally lost helplessly. "What a pity, I couldn't kill the opponent in seconds." Although she won, Gu Zuwei's face showed a trace of imperceptible disappointment. Chen Wei defeated his opponent in seconds, but he himself failed to do so. In a way, he lost. Seeing this scene in the preparation room, Chen Wei's face was a little solemn. Although K Ling is also a spiritual pet and has a certain resistance to spiritual skills, if it is a pure spiritual competition, it may not be able to beat this Kinkson Ice Fox. "Are you sure?" Chen Wei asked softly. "Yi, Cap. Oh, I will be the first." Seeing K Ling's confident look, Chen Wei couldn't help but smile. And then corrected, "It should be said that we will be the first." The order of the player's appearance seems to be determined by the ranking of the actual combat assessment. The player who played in the third game is Dianzinhu. Dizen Mountain Jiao is worthy of being a pure-blooded dragon. It basically does not dodge or evade the opponent's attacks, and completely endures them, without even leaving any injuries. Like its defense, its attack power is also exceptionally outstanding. Its amazing skill attack can make the opponent's pet lose the power to resist with just one hit. After trying several attacks, the opponent still couldn't break the defense, and then directly despaired. Faced with the impeccable absolute defense of the Dizen Mountain Jiao, the opponent had no choice but to admit defeat, and Bianxing advanced with overwhelming strength. In the fourth game, Guan Kingson's Dragonfish Blue King set off a surging wave like thousands of troops and horses galloping to drown the opponent's pet and defeat it, and successfully advanced. In the fifth game, Su Kun's Frost Green Chicken used the green blood erosion to freeze the entire ring. The biting frost seemed to freeze the air completely. After a long tug of war, Su Kun narrowly won a move and finally successfully advanced. In the sixth game, Yu Xianglu's Red Warm Spirit Rabbit was very good at refining medicine and treatment, but it could be said to be weak in the battle. If Gu Junda hadn't intended to leave a good impression on this white-haired and red-eyed girl alchemist, the Red Warm Spirit Rabbit, which was only in the middle of the second level, would have been killed instantly. In the end, Gu Junda successfully advanced, and Yu Xianglu won the top 16. Next, with the end of the 7th and 8th games, the top 8 players were successfully decided, and then the second round of qualifying began. Under the expectant gaze of thousands of spectators, the list of the top 8 players appeared on the big screen, and then the computer began to randomly match. As expected, as the first player to appear in the first round, Chen Wei was still the first player to appear in the second round, and the opponent he was matched with by the computer happened to be Su Kun, who had formed a temporary team in the Earth Maze before. "Have a good journey," Guan Kingston patted Su Kun on the shoulder. "I think I can still save it." Su Kun looked at his photo on the screen and felt like crying but had no tears. If his Frost Jade Chicken could wear the 5th level pet weapon, maybe he could fight with a Void Frost Dragon, otherwise he would have no chance of winning at all. Although he complained, Su-kun had no intention of admitting defeat. As both of them were ice pets, even if he lost in the end, he might still learn something in the end, otherwise it would be a bit embarrassing to surrender without a fight. Chen Wei, come on. Standing on the ring, listening to the support from afar, Chen Wei couldn't help but smile slightly. Even if he didn't turn around, he could recognize Yu Zilman's voice. After 1 minute of preparation time, the referee blew the whistle. Continuous ice tornadoes, Chen Wei ordered. The next second, the temperature on the ring dropped sharply, and a terrifying extreme cold storm appeared. Frost Green Chicken couldn't help but stare. Beijing protected body. Su-kun knew very well that under the terrifying speed of the Kongming Frost Dragon's release of skills, whether he chose to dodge or confront head-on, Frost Green Chicken would be defeated faster. It would be better to stack armor first and hold on for a few more rounds. He didn't want his pet to be killed instantly. However, Frost Green Chicken's jade-like body had just bloomed with dazzling brilliance when it was bombarded and hit by several rapidly attacking ice tornadoes. Boom! Waves of terrifying shock waves swept in all directions, smoke and ice crystals filled the air, and finally Frost Green Chicken fainted in the deep ravine. Looking at this crushing game with no resistance, the whole audience was silent again. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 244, Dragon Battle. Not bad. Finally K-Ling warmed up a bit. After taking a look at the frozen green chicken in the pit, Chen Wei tilted his head to look at the referee. Winner, Chen Wei, the referee announced crisply. In the spectator seats, a large number of spectators looked at Chen Wei in a daze, as if they saw a bright star rising. Chen Wei walked down the main stage amid the applause of the whole room. Unlike before, this time he met Gu Zuwei, the contestant who played in the second game, in the contestant channel. The silver hair that fell vertically to the slender waist like a waterfall and the exquisite appearance reminded Chen Wei of the beautiful girl he met in the Starlight Gym. At the moment when they passed by, Gu Zuwei suddenly said a word. Wait for you in the final. Hearing this, Chen Wei frowned slightly. Although Gu Zuwei's Kinkson Ice Fox is very strong, it may not be able to defeat Yonxinghu's Dizen Mountain Jiao. Could it be that she has a hidden card? On the screen, standing opposite Gu Zuwei is a young man wearing a black and white swimsuit. Every move is a bit elegant. He looks a bit old-fashioned. His name is Gu Junda. His pet is a strange beast with a golden horn on its head. Its ferocious head is covered with brown and yellow rocks, and its eyes are full of murderous intent as if made of rubies. There are two thick and sharp golden curved horns on its back connected by dark blue crystals. Pet name, Golden Horned Earth Lion. Pet attribute, Earth and Gold Dual System. Racial level, Transcendent Commander. Strength level, Level 3 Middle. Racial skills, Earth Shake, Mountain Breaking Horn Strike, Rock Shattering Sandstorm, Ground Crack. Golden Horn is a dual system leader of Earth and Gold. The Golden Horned Earth Lion has extremely excellent physical defense capabilities, but it is still much weaker in front of the Kinkson Ice Fox. Gu Junda, who knew this well, ordered the Golden Horned Earth Lion to raise a sandstorm of broken rocks that covered the sky and the sun to hide himself the moment the referee shouted start. Then, muffled thunder sounded, and the broken rocks and gravel that rose like a yellow dragon swept towards Gu Zuwei frantically. In order to prevent his pet from falling into the endless mental attack, Gu Junda planned to let Gu Zuwei leave the stage first. This gravel, Gu Zuwei frowned slightly. Compared with the fierce attack of the sandstorm, she seemed to be more concerned about the gravel in the air that would stain her clothes. Frost all over the ground, the foxtail of Kinkson Ice Fox swayed slightly, and a snow-white ice crystal slowly fell. Endless frost quietly emerged, and the temperature in the venue dropped significantly. Many spectators couldn't help shivering because of the sudden chill. The sandstorm that swept the whole venue was immediately completely suppressed by the extremely cold frost. If there was no protective shield on the ring to isolate the energy impact, the entire main venue might have been turned into an ice field. Gu Junda lost, Chen Wei suddenly said. At this moment, Gu Junda on the ring was shocked and looked down subconsciously. I got hit. At some point, a sharp cold air spread from the ground of the main ring, even directly wrapped around his feet. It's over, Gu Zuwei said. With a pride in her heart, if the opponent hadn't taken the initiative to attack her, She would never attack the Beastmaster before defeating the opponent's pet. I can't win. Gu Junda showed a bitter smile on his face. Before he could raise his hands to surrender, the cold air on his feet completely broke out and turned him into a human-shaped ice sculpture. Without the Beastmaster, the golden horned earth lion, which was alone, fell to the ground after bearing several mental skills. Gu Zui won easily. Chen Wei looked at the time. It was his turn to play in 2 games. The third round should be able to start in half an hour. Soon, after a fierce battle, the top 4 players were decided. These 4 players were Chen Wei, Gu Zui, Tian Xinghu and Guan Qingxin. At this time, the big screen in the main venue was randomly matching games. Chen Wei vs Tian Xinghu, Gu Zui vs Guan Qingxin. Seeing this, Chen Wei shrugged his shoulders, with no surprise on his face. The competition has already reached the semi-finals, and it is normal to be matched with any player at this time, not to mention that he is very interested in pure-blooded dragons like Dizen Mountain Jiao. It's time to let the audience know what a real dragon is. As dragon masters, their pets are all pure-blooded dragons. If he can defeat the king race Dizen Mountain Jiao with the Kongming Frost Jiao of the leader race, this will highlight the gap between the genius Beastmasters. Next time we will play against Dizen Mountain Jiao, it's time to show our true strength. Yi, oh cap, oh, I understand. Although Kei Ling said this, the expression on her face was a little disdainful, as if she didn't take her opponent seriously. Under the expectant eyes of many spectators, the first game of the third round, the Dragon Battle, is about to begin. Finally it's Chen Wei's turn to play. We're already in the semifinals. It won't be another instant kill this time. The gap between the leader race and the king race is even greater than the 3-stage gap between the extraordinary race and the leader race. Not to mention an instant kill, Chen Wei can't win this game at all. The voices of discussion in the spectator seats were endless. It's a pity that such a genius was accepted as a disciple by Hanzhou Iao. She is an alchemist who can only make pills. I'm afraid it's a waste. The director of the battle department of Rosewood University, the legendary Beastmaster Shan Honggai, shook his head with some regret. If he could accept Chen Wei as a disciple, he dare not say that he can train Chen Wei into legendary Beastmaster. After all, the legend is too difficult. Even if he tries again, he may not be able to break through the legend, but he is still somewhat confident that he can train Chen Wei into an epic Beastmaster. Such a good seedling, why did he think of going to the alchemy department? Shan Honggai sighed in his heart. There is no way. The alchemy department of Rosewood University is really rich. Even though he was a legendary warrior, he was not as wealthy as Hanzhou Iao, so he could not compete with him. Moreover, if he only spent resources to cultivate disciples, even geniuses could become useless. Some Beastmasters who had not experienced life and death battles could not even achieve the level of a king, let alone an epic. This was one of the reasons why students from the alchemy department were always suppressed by students from the battle department. Not bad, I didn't embarrass the teacher. Tan Zuking always had a smile on her face. The master had something to do, and the honor of being the first in the qualifying round was just the beginning. If Chen Wei could win the first place and represent the freshmen of the alchemy department to suppress the battle department after entering Zidane University, she would not mind giving her junior brother a surprise gift. At this time, Chen Wei was slowly walking up to the main stage along the player channel. As he entered the stage, the other 3 players who had entered the semifinals were now ready to fight, tense all over. The record said it all. No matter what kind of opponent he met, he would kill them instantly, so that the overwhelming momentum accumulated on Chen Wei was very terrifying. It cannot be overemphasized how much attention we should pay to such an opponent. Chapter 245, Dizen Mountain Dragon. There is only one champion, and that's me. On the other side of the ring, Tian Xinghu took a deep breath, calmed his mind, and tried to ignore the huge pressure brought by Chen Wei. Although he didn't know what the Kongming Frost Jiao that led the race was, he believed that the Dizen Mountain Jiao of the King race would never lose to any Jiao. The competition is about to start. Which player do you think has a higher chance of winning? Professor Tan, Shan Honggai became interested. He had heard some news about Jiao Dragon Yuan, but he didn't expect that these rumors were true. It was the first time he saw a pure-blooded Jiao of the Transcendental Leader race. Tan Zuking said without hesitation, "Of course my junior brother Wan." As one of the bigwigs of the alchemy department, she didn't need to hide her preferences in the conversation, and even her words had the intention of supporting Chen Wei. Hearing this, Xiang Hongai smiled and didn't continue to speak. As a legendary strong man, he would not attack the younger generation for a little Jiaolong Dragon Yuan, unless it was the Dragon Yuan of a legendary alien Jiaolong. The same is true for other beastmasters who know the secret of dragon essence. They will never make enemies with an alchemist who is about to break through to the Grandmaster level for this little benefit, otherwise the price they need to pay at that time will be extremely heavy. Interesting, very thoughtful boy. In addition to the fact that Xiang Hongai was a little dissatisfied with Chen Wei's abandonment of the combat system and turning to the alchemy system, he actually agreed with Chen Wei. In the 1-minute preparation time, Tianxing who directly summoned his trump card pet. Roar, with a dragon roar, a dragon with a body length of about 20 meters, 2 bright golden dragon horns, sharp and pointed, and the bottom of the dragon horns covered with the black rock texture suddenly appeared. In the dark dragon eyes are a pair of brown-yellow pupils, and under the thick and powerful limbs are 3 golden claws. In addition, its white jade-like front abdomen has 2 bony horns that bend upwards. The thorn-like yellow crystal spikes extend from the winding and slender neck to the tail. The dark dragon scales seem indestructible under the scorching sun. A huge and domineering dragon power swept the whole scene like a hurricane, setting off a series of violent air explosions. Pet name, Dizon Mountain Jiao. Pet attributes, Earth and Dragon dual system, racial level, Brilliant King, strength level, level 3 middle, racial skills, Dizon Dragon Pillar, Barren Earth Dragon Breath, Deep Rock Dragon Scale, Fierce Scale Mountain Strike, King's Pressure. The strength is only level 3 middle, 1 level lower than K-Ling. It should be the limit of the Beastmaster Yuanxing cultivation or the limit of the innate talent. Looking at the mighty dragon in front of him, Chen Wei was prepared. That's it. K-Ling raised her head and let out a dragon roar. A terrifying invisible pressure was like a materialized shock wave that swept all around. Under this earth-shaking dragon power, the ring began to shake continuously, and even the clean floor had a lot of cracks. So strong, Tianxing whose pupils shrank. The dragon power cast by his pet was instantly defeated. At this moment, the referee blew the whistle and the game officially began. Continuous ice tornado, Chen Wei ordered. 1 trick to eat all the world. If the opponent is not strong enough, he will fall directly under K-Ling's bombardment of ice tornado. Sure enough, Tianxing who looked at the ice tornado that formed in an instant on the field, and sent a thought, Deep Rock Dragon Scale plus Earth Guardian to carry it. The Dizon Mountain Jiao, which had expected it, had curled up its huge body into a ball, but the Earth Guardian it was about to release had not yet formed, and an extremely terrifying cold storm came towards its direction. Not only that, behind this extremely cold storm, there were also silver-blue cold ice dragons following closely. The roaring ice tornado seemed to not need to consume source power. In just 1 second, 3 storms with flames and silver-white ice crystals had already descended one after another. The Dizon Mountain Jiao, who had nowhere to hide, could only take it. Boom! In an instant, the cold current on the ring was violent, and a large piece of ice and snow fell. The biting frost even froze the air. Under the violent explosion and roar, countless ice crystals were scattered all over the ground. Afterwards, the ice storm dissipated, leaving only an extremely large dragon ice sculpture on the ring. No way, it's over like this. It was solved in 1 second again. Isn't this too fast? Looking at it this way, I can do it too. After all, I don't have to hold on for even 1 second. It doesn't matter who comes. Thousands of spectators in the spectator seats immediately talked about it. At this time, the referee teacher took a look at the dragon ice sculpture on the ring, confirmed that a breath was correct, and did not speak to announce the result. Too fast. The scale release speed is so fast that I can only resist it, and I can't even dodge it. But fortunately, my Dizon Mountain Jiao's best talent is defense. Tianxing who wiped the cold sweat from his head and ordered. Strike back with Menglin Mountain Strike. The next second, the huge dragon ice sculpture standing on the ring began to emit a dazzling golden light. Crack! With a flash of golden light, the ice sculpture shattered, and the Dizon Mountain Jiao suddenly appeared with a huge mountain phantom made of dragon scales, and then the huge dragon body turned into a stream of light and hit K-Ling heavily. This sudden reversal immediately caused a burst of exclamations from the audience. Looking at the incoming stream of light, K-Ling slowly closed her eyes. Give up. Seeing this, Tianxing who was slightly stunned, but suddenly an ominous premonition surged in his heart. As expected, Ling's miniature body suddenly expanded and transformed into a terrifying dragon with a length of more than 80 meters. If the main stage was not wide enough, in a normal battle venue, Ling's body that was big enough to block out the sun and sky would be enough to push the opponent off the stage. In this way, the originally huge Dizen Mountain Flood Dragon looked particularly small in front of Ling, and the size difference between the two was like the difference between an adult and a baby. Finally, the two dragons collided with each other, and a violent explosion sounded suddenly. Boom, as if bitten by a mosquito, Ling's terrifying body floated in the air, and completely dispelled the skills of the Dizen Mountain Flood Dragon without any care. On the contrary, the Dizen Mountain Flood Dragon felt that it had hid an unshakable giant mountain, and subconsciously retreated dozens of meters, and even its head was a little dizzy because of the strong impact. Yi, Ling let out an excited dragon roar, and the terrifying dragon claws that were enough to break gold and stone easily lifted the Dizen Mountain Flood Dragon. Audience, it's okay that the ice skills are cast quickly and have outrageous power, but how can the physical strength contained in the body of the Kongming Frost Dragon be so terrifying, and even completely crush the dragons of the king race? This is simply not in line with common sense. P.S. Thank you for the 100 starting coins reward from the Dragon of the Shadow of God. Thank you for your support. Thank you to all the readers for your recent voting and subscription support. The subscription results of this book are finally not as bleak as before. Chapter 246 Completely Crushing. Rather than simply defeating the opponent with ice skills, Ling wanted to use the strength and defense that the Dizen Mountain Flood Dragon was best at to crush the opponent's confidence. So, in the eyes of the audience, the huge Dizen Mountain Flood Dragon was being lifted up and played with by another, even more terrifying Kongming Frost Flood Dragon. This shocking scene immediately caused an uproar in the audience. Even the audience who had only a superficial knowledge of animal tamers felt that the Dizen Mountain Flood Dragon had no hope of winning after seeing the huge size difference between the two dragons. You dare to play with my proud trumpet like a loach? Tianxing, who clenched his fists, feeling deeply humiliated, and a bit of blood appeared on his face. At this time, he suppressed his anger and quickly thought of countermeasures. In order to resist the opponent's ice skills, he also specially replaced the Dizen Mountain Flood Dragon's pet's defensive weapon, Rock Fortress, with anti-ice amulet. Now it seems that he has done something wrong. Feeling the anger coming from his pet, the Dizen Mountain Jiao, Tianxing, who gritted his teeth and ordered, "Descend Dragon Pillar." Upon hearing this, the Dizen Mountain Jiao, whose fate was strangled by the throat, swung its tail vigorously, causing a burst of air explosions in the air and then slammed into Ling's body. Then its brown-yellow pupils turned red. In an instant, under the violent fluctuations of the source power, the arena below Ling collapsed, forming a huge deep ravine that stretched 100 meters. The next second, the majestic earth source power inside the huge ravine continued to brew, and a terrifying rock dragon pillar that seemed to connect the heaven and earth suddenly rose rapidly from the bottom to the top, aiming directly at Ling. However, Ling chose not to dodge, and watched the hundreds of meters long rock pillar attack at lightning speed. Until the last second, she used the Dizen Mountain Jiao in her claws as a shield to block it below. Looking at the Dizen Dragon pillar he released, the pupils of the Dizen Mountain Flood Dragon shrank, and the dark dragon scales were instantly covered with rich earth source power. Boom! A terrifying mushroom cloud rose up, and the sky was full of flying and broken rocks. The vast and fierce shock wave even bombed the entire main stage into pieces. As the smoke and dust dissipated, a terrifying blue dragon gradually appeared on the stage that had become a ruin, and in her claws, a bloody Dizen Mountain Flood Dragon was still struggling hard. "Don't play, end it." Chen Wei looked at the Dizen Mountain Flood Dragon that seemed to have fallen into a crazy state, and conveyed his thoughts. Hearing this, Ling released the dragon claws. At this time, the Dizen Mountain Flood Dragon that regained its freedom had no time to fight back, and the blue dragon tail, under the blessing of Ling's big and small Rui skills, swung it fiercely with terrifying force. Boom! After a loud noise, the 20-meter-long Dizen Mountain Jiao suddenly turned into a cannonball and flew out at high speed, and finally fell heavily on the ring like a meteorite. For a moment, the earth roared, and the entire main venue was shaken. Lost, feeling the dead silence on the other end of the beast control contract, Tianxing, who felt that he was still in a dream. It was obviously only a level difference in strength. The advantage of the race level of his pet could completely make up for this disadvantage, and even take advantage of the strength. As a result, he lost completely. And even the plan prepared in advance was not used. What kind of monster is this? Such a terrifying dragon is just a leader of the race. Do the pet race level appraisers of the Beast Control Association have any misunderstandings about the transcendent leader of the race? At this time, the earthquake had gradually stopped, and a deep ravine hundreds of meters long appeared at the original location of the ring. The Dizan Mountain Jiao was completely trapped in this huge ravine and accompanied by rocks, completely losing its combat ability. Seeing this, the atmosphere in the main venue instantly boiled up, and all the audience stood up, cheering and applauding enthusiastically. Too strong, this is a complete crush, invincible. I'm not bragging. If Chen Wei doesn't get first place next time, I will drink Coke upside down on the spot, a teenager in the spectator seat said confidently. Hearing this, the little girl next to her looked at the empty Coke bottle in her brother's hand with a vigilant look, and then said nothing, but silently accelerated the speed of drinking Coke. Are you kidding me? Are the racial levels of Dizan Mountain Jiao and Kongming Frost Jiao reversed? On the other side, a young man with a cold temperament in the audience was full of disbelief. Even if we don't mention the outrageous ice skills, just the 6th level dragon skills it displayed and the terrifying physical strength, it is really a bit ridiculous that the racial level of this Kongming Frost Jiao is only a transcendent commander. Xiang Honggai's eyes were a little strange. According to common sense, the appraiser of the Beast Taming Association should not make such a low-level mistake. The winner is Chen Wei, the referee announced immediately. After the routine handshake ceremony, Chen Wei walked towards the preparation room with a calm expression. As the saying goes, one force can defeat 10 skills. Kei Ling, who completely crushes her opponent with strength, does not need any strategy at all. This time, Chen Wei met Gu Zuwei, the contestant who played in the second game, in the contestant channel again. He looked at the time in surprise. Because the arena that had become a ruin needed to be repaired, the game was postponed for 10 minutes. Logically, Gu Zuwei should be in the preparation room now. You are a real genius. Chen Wei was slightly startled when he saw the girl in front of him, who seemed to have walked out of the second dimension, suddenly say such a compliment. Who can get here is not a genius, he replied. Gu Zuwei said seriously, it's different. Among the top 16 players, only you come from an ordinary family. Chen Wei was speechless for a moment. Carelessness will lead to defeat. I hope you can let me enjoy it then. As soon as the voice fell, Gu Zuwei turned and went to the preparation room. She had an inexplicable premonition that Chen Wei had not been going all out in the previous games. For this reason, she deliberately issued 2 declarations of war in the hope that she could see Chen Wei's true strength. What a strange guy. Looking at Gu Zuwei's back, Chen Wei shook his head slightly. In the main venue, the battle between Kingston Ice Fox and Dragon-Fished Blue King officially started. Under the soul illusion attack of Kingston Ice Fox, the Dragon-Fished Blue King fell into a huge disadvantage not long after the battle began. At this time, the Dragon-Fished Blue King was standing still, as if he was sleeping soundly. In this regard, Guan Kingston's face was normal. She had expected this situation. Sure enough, the purple necklace on the Dragon-Fished Blue King's neck suddenly bloomed with a dark purple glow, and its tightly closed eyes suddenly opened. Spirit Guard, a 3rd-level top-grade spiritual defense weapon that can reduce or even be immune to the damage of most 3rd-level spiritual skills, 3 times. Chapter 247 Final. There are 2 more chances to wave the spell, Guan Kingston calmly ordered. Tidal ripples plus roar of the raging sea. Instantly, a dazzling azure tide wrapped around the Blue Dragon King. As the water rippled, its aura continued to rise. Tidal ripples, a 5th-level water-based strengthening skill that can increase the pet's immunity to abnormal states within 1 minute, and provide a shield for the pet after the skill expires. After boosting itself, the violent water-based source power fluctuations gathered in the Blue Dragon King's mouth. The next second, a huge wave like the sky collapsing suddenly roared towards Gu Zuwei's Kingston Ice Fox. Frost all over the ground plus extremely frozen light. Under Gu Zuwei's command, the Kingston Ice Fox began to glow with azure light all over its body, and then suddenly released an extremely cold frost that froze the air. Snowflakes began to fall from the sky, and the azure cold air instantly turned into a mighty dragon emitting a dangerous aura behind the Kingston Ice Fox, and then the sharp cold dragon collided and penetrated with the rushing waves. In the last second, the extremely cold frost turned the huge waves into ice crystals. In the next second, the violent waves crushed the frost into powder. However, as time passed, the roaring waves of the Mad Dragon began to lose their momentum, and the sharp cold air spread along the rushing waves, and was about to cover the dragon-fished blue king who was casting skills into an ice sculpture. Gurgle, in just a moment, half of the body of the dragon-fished blue king was frozen by the extreme cold air that kept coming out. This deep cold even made it subconsciously let out a wail. Guan Qingxin looked at the pet covered by frost, and a few drops of cold sweat oozed from his temples. No wonder my father thought that the champion was Gu Zuwei. Such talent and strength do have the potential to win the championship. Thinking of this, Guan Qingxin's bright eyes became more solemn. At this time, the mist all over the ring had become the source of power for the icy cold. After a few rounds, the whole body of the dragon-fished blue king was almost completely frozen by the icy cold. Gu Zuwei, it's over. A dazzling blue aurora condensed from the mouth of the Qingxin ice fox, and instantly swallowed the dragon-fished blue king with the force of thunder. A loud bang roared up, and the terrifying cold aurora instantly defeated the opponent. After a short break, the battle for the third place is about to begin. Guan Qingxin vs Yan Xinghu, as expected, even though the dragon-fished blue king has an advantage in attributes, because of the gap between the leader race and the king race, the dragon-fished blue king still lost to the Dizan Mountain Jiao. Sure enough, this is the strength that the real leader race should have. Although I don't know how Chen Wei did it, that guy's Kongming Frost Jiao is definitely a king race. After confirming that the problem was not with him, Tian Xinghu breathed a sigh of relief, and then focused all his attention on the final. Not only Tian Xinghu, but all the audience in the main venue were looking forward to this battle of the strong. Under the gaze of the crowd, Chen Wei and Gu Zuwei slowly stepped onto the stage. In an instant, the whole audience burst into warm applause, and deafening cheers also resounded throughout the venue. Professor Tan, which side do you think has a higher chance of winning? Shan Honggai said with a smile. Director Shan, the secret Beidao meditation method of the Gu family is indeed very strong, but I still believe in Chen Wei. Tan Zuking looked calm. After so many games, the disciple that his teacher had just accepted had won every game. Even if he was a genius of the Gu family, it was still unpredictable until the last moment of the battle. At this time, the 1-minute preparation time had passed, and the referee blew the whistle. The game begins. Kailing immediately raised her head and let out a dragon roar, like a terrifying dragon reviving, and a terrifying momentum that made the space tremble suddenly swept towards the Qingxin ice fox on the opposite side. Gu Zuwei's expression remained unchanged. Super protective shield. Qingxin ice fox's fox pupils flashed, and a gorgeous colorful shield immediately covered her whole body. As for Gu Zuwei herself, she frowned slightly, relying on her superb mental power to wipe out the panic that was born in her heart. At the moment when Kailing's momentum burst out, several terrifying frost storms carrying the embers of frost suddenly broke out, and the icy and piercing cold air instantly enveloped the entire venue. Endless cold air poured out, and the ring was covered with ice and snow all over the sky. Boom! Violent roars continued to sound, the cold wind was roaring, and the ice dragon was howling. Several ice tornadoes gathered together and swallowed Qingxin ice fox at an astonishing speed, and the sound of ice crystals bursting was endless. I can block it. Gu Zuwei's pupils shrank, and her innate talent for strengthening mental power suddenly burst out. With the physical strength that Kongming Frost Dragon had shown before, letting Qingxin ice fox launch mental skill attacks one step ahead would only make the battle lose faster. Because consuming a mental attack has little effect on the strong body of Kongming Frost Dragon. Although Qingxin ice fox, as a dual-element pet of spirit and ice, has a certain resistance to ice, its fragile body will definitely lose its combat ability in an instant if it eats such a terrifying ice tornado. Just when the magnificent mental power in Gu Zuwei's body was synchronized with the pet through the beast control contract, the mental power of Qingxin ice fox, which was already extremely powerful, rose sharply at a jaw-dropping speed. The defense power of the super protection shield it released was greatly enhanced. So much so that after the terrifying ice storm ended, a shield emitting colorful light was still shining. Blocked it. Seeing that Qingxin ice fox survived the early bombardment safely, some viewers who admired Chen Wei swallowed their saliva subconsciously, and even couldn't help but give Gu Zuwei a thumbs up in their hearts. Very good. This way, they will be able to see again the powerful and impeccable body of the mighty dragon, as well as the terrifying strength that makes people unable to extricate themselves. It's my turn to fight back. Gu Zuwei smiled for the first time on the stage. Before the super maintenance shield ends, she can let Kinks and Ice Fox use endless spiritual skills to suppress this dragon, whose body is so strong that pets despair. Soul Annihilation. With its spiritual power soaring, Kinks and Ice Fox's fox eyes suddenly glowed with strange blue light towards Kei-Ling. Kei-Ling, who did not resist this, fell into a spiritual world created by Kinks and Ice Fox in this short moment. Looking at Kei-Ling, whose eyes were dull, Chen Wei smiled. There are many pets that are good at spiritual skills. In addition to Kinks and Ice Fox, his own pet Kongming Frost Jiao is also an expert in this area. Since Kei-Ling dared to take the initiative to enter the other party's world, it means that she is absolutely sure. P.S. Thank you for the 5,000 starting coins rewarded by Sakura Miracle. Thank you for your encouragement. Thank you readers for voting and subscribing. Chapter 248, Transformed into a Demonic Dragon. At this time, in the illusion world, Kei-Ling opened her eyes, and the first thing she saw was the pure white snowfield. She looked up and saw a large piece of snowflakes that exuded a dangerous aura, as if to remove all dirt. And between the hazy snowflakes, a huge fox head slowly appeared. Under its silver fur, that was as clear and bright as the moonlight, was a pair of blood-red fox eyes that captured people's hearts, and behind it were 9 tails that seemed to be made of pale blue ice crystals. Buzz! As the 9 tails behind the Kinks and Ice Fox began to dance, an extremely terrifying momentum suddenly burst out from its huge body. Psychic Mimicry, a level 5 spiritual skill. The caster can mimic the alien beast he wants to be in the spiritual world, and automatically possess a part of the power of the incarnation of the alien beast. Looking at the Kinks and Ice Fox that transformed into 9-tailed white fox in the spiritual world, Kei-Ling's dragon eyes revealed a bit of disdain. Fake is fake, such a 9-tailed white fox with only good looks can't scare me. Yee! With Kei-Ling's high-pitched dragon roar, the ground within 100 miles of her began to freeze, and endless cold air spread out. She began to try to compete with the 9-tailed white fox for the control of this spiritual world. As if sensing Kei-Ling's contempt, the huge 9-tailed fox raised its head and cried. Illusion Aurora! At the same time, Guzui, who was standing on the ring with her eyes closed, raised her mouth slightly, and the tremendous spiritual power in her body flowed to her pet through the beast control contract, and even her face turned pale. Illusion Aurora is an improved skill of the Kinks and Ice Fox race skill Soul Illusion, with a skill level of up to level 6, and it is also the strongest spiritual attack skill mastered by the Kinks and Ice Fox. So far, there are only a few opponents who can make Guzui use this move, and there is not a single pet that can take on this terrifying skill. At the moment when Kinks and Ice Fox released the Aurora Illusion, the spiritual world where Kei-Ling and Ice Fox were located suddenly lost all colors. The next second, a huge pillar of light that penetrated the sky and the earth suddenly appeared, and then quickly enveloped Kei-Ling. The originally pure white snowfield was directly dyed into a white glow under the illumination of this brilliant pillar of light. The earth-shaking roar continued to sound, as if the world was about to end. The entire spiritual world was shaking under this blow, and even showed signs of collapse. Soon, the light column dissipated, leaving only the destroyed ground. It was a huge circular pit covering an area of about 1,000 miles. The inside of the pit was full of crystallized stones formed by high temperature, which were constantly emitting boiling steam. I didn't lose consciousness. Kinks and Ice Fox looked at the pit below in surprise. If the opponent loses the ability to fight, the spiritual world that it connects to the opponent with this soul illusion skill will directly collapse and dissolve. Now this spiritual world is still stable, which means that the opponent still has a certain combat power. Inside the deep pit, a slightly abrupt group of ice crystals began to break, and then Kei-Ling's intact figure suddenly appeared. Yee, it hurts a little. The faint pain in her mind made Kei-Ling, who had originally planned to play for a while, lose interest. Seeing this, the 9-tailed white fox, who was shocked in her heart, shrank its pupils, and the fox pupils full of spirituality actually revealed a bit of fear. It knew very well the power of the illusionary Aurora, and even it could not fully withstand it. As a result, this strange dragon was only a little painful, and even its breath did not decrease much. What a joke. Ignoring the load brought by the previous release of the illusionary Aurora, Kinks and Ice Fox's eyes flickered, intending to use all his strength to attack again. Although Kinks and Ice Fox did not know what happened, since the other party was able to avoid the illusionary Aurora without injury, it meant that the other party must have paid a painful price that he did not know. However, Kei-Ling would not continue to be arrogant. Her expression froze, and a terrifying dragon might that shook the heavens and the earth suddenly erupted. In just a moment, the ground within a radius of hundreds of meters was shattered, and her body shape began to rapidly transform. In the blink of an eye, a demon dragon with a body length of several thousand meters, like a god descending to the earth, suddenly appeared. Two majestic bright golden dragon horns grew from its head backwards, and the awe-inspiring and domineering dragon head was surrounded by red sideburns, extending all the way to its tail. The terrifying blood-red flames continued to rise above its sideburns, and the extreme high temperature even caused the surrounding space to vibrate. Under the sky-blue dragon body were powerful limbs, the abdomen was jade-like, and under the feet were 5 dragon claws full of destructive aura. In front of such a majestic existence, Kingston Ice Fox only took a glimpse, and a sense of powerlessness full of despair rose in his heart. What kind of existence is this? Even though Kingston Ice Fox knew that this dragon was actually a majestic existence transformed by Kongming Frost Jiao using the mental mimicry skill, it still couldn't help but be impressed by its display of power and strength, and even felt fear and awe. On the contrary, Kayling calmly looked down at her dragon claws, because she knew that all this was fake. Despite this, feeling the unprecedented powerful force in her body, Kayling couldn't help but raise her head and let out an excited dragon roar. Spiritual skills +1, yes, that's right, Kayling didn't know this rare 5th level spiritual skill of mental mimicry before. However, in this spiritual world maintained by Kingston Ice Fox and Kayling, she just witnessed Kingston Ice Fox casting mental mimicry once and learned it naturally. In order to test whether her feeling was wrong, she urged mental mimicry to try to transform into the ice and fire dragon mentioned several times by Chen Wei, and it was perfectly successful the first time she used it. It must be said that Kayling's talent for learning skills is simply outrageous. If it weren't for the fact that the soul illusion was a racial skill of Kingston Ice Fox, with her terrifying talent, she might even be able to learn the illusion Aurora. After the excitement, Kayling looked at the 9-tailed white fox below, whose body was trembling slightly, with a sly smile on her face. At this time, Kingston Ice Fox, who had sensed that the situation was not good, was preparing to destroy the Aurora while trying to dissolve the spiritual world created by the soul destruction. Boom! The world seemed to be shaking. At this time, Kayling's huge dragon body had already wrapped around the entire spiritual world. Then she moved her body slightly, and her sky-blue dragon claws attacked Kingston Ice Fox with a terrifying force that could destroy everything. Coincidentally, the Aurora destruction that the 9-tailed white fox had been brewing for a long time had also formed again. Boom! With just one attack from the magic dragon, the Aurora light column dissipated instantly, and even the 9-tailed white fox, the incarnation of Kingston Ice Fox, was wiped out by this overwhelming blow. Finally, the entire spiritual world began to collapse and dissipate. Chapter 249, Pills in Hand. On the stage, seeing Kayling's eyes regain their former spirit, Chen Wei smiled slightly. On the contrary, the Kingston Ice Fox on the opposite side suddenly let out a mournful cry. Not only did the aura emanating from its body drop significantly, but its body was also shaking constantly, as if it was afraid of something. What a monster! Guzuyi wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth. Because she used her innate talent to synchronize with the spiritual power of the Kingston Ice Fox, she also saw everything that happened in the spiritual world, and was therefore backlashed by the collapse of the spiritual world. Who would have thought that in addition to its extremely strong body and ice skills, the Kongming Frost Dragon even had a spiritual power that was comparable to the spiritual pets of the king race. This was really outrageous. Guzuyi had not seen omnipotent pets, but this type of omnipotent pet had some obvious shortcomings to a greater or lesser extent. She had even seen a few real dragons that ordinary people could hardly encounter. However, Guzuyi dared to guarantee that even the real dragons she had seen were not as outrageous as the Kongming Frost Dragon in front of her. Thinking of this, she intertwined her hands and formed a mysterious hand seal. Such a powerful opponent is worth my all. On the other side, Chen Wei looked at Guzuyi who was forming a hand seal in the distance, and suddenly a faint sense of danger surged in his heart. Although this sense of danger was extremely slight, it also showed that the opponent was not as weak as before, and could even pose a little threat to him. Frostfall Dragon Breath, Chen Wei conveyed his thoughts. Although he didn't know what Guzuyi was going to do, he would not watch his opponent strengthen. Hearing this, the biting cold air continued to gather in Kayling's mouth. It only took a moment to use the violent breath to solve the opponent. At this time, Gu Zuwei frowned slightly, stopped forming a hand seal, and then decisively raised her hand to surrender. Seeing this, the whole audience was silent. There were so many games in the qualifying round, and no player chose to surrender during the period. It must be said that this was the first and last game in which a player surrendered. Winner, Chen Wei. After confirming the result, the referee shouted loudly. Amid the cheers of thousands of spectators at the main venue, Chen Wei bowed to Gu Zuwei and was about to leave. Student Chen Wei, please stay, next is the award presentation session, you don't need to leave. Seeing Chen Wei about to leave, the referee hurriedly called him. Next, let's applaud and invite Professor Tan Zuking, a second-level full professor of the Department of Alchemy at Zidane University, to present a trophy to the champion of this year's Zidane University qualifying competition. Under the shocked gaze of the crowd, a beautiful professor with long golden hair shawl and a noble temperament wearing a Zidane University tutor uniform walked onto the stage. It seems that this year is a little unusual. In the past, the award presenters were at most associate professors of the 5th level. I didn't expect that this year it would be Professor Tan who was in charge. In the audience, an extraordinary middle-aged man exclaimed. Professor Tan is a master-level alchemist. As the champion of this year's qualifying competition, if Chen Wei can be noticed by Professor Tan, I'm afraid he will soar to the sky. At this time, the eyes of the candidates who failed to enter the top 3 were red with envy. Professor Tan? No, it should be senior sister Tan. She is younger than I thought. Chen Wei looked at his senior sister, whom he had never met, in surprise. According to Sister Mu Ning's previous introduction, he knew that he had 2 senior sisters in Zidane University. Professor Tan was the teacher's second-ranked disciple, and also the alchemist with the highest level of alchemy among all the teacher's disciples. Noticing Chen Wei's gaze, Tan Zuking smiled confidently. Student Chen Wei, congratulations on winning the championship of this qualifying competition. I hope you can achieve better results in the future. After a few short words of encouragement, she handed the medals and prizes prepared by the school to Chen Wei according to the previous award ceremony. After receiving the prize, Chen Wei's face showed some excitement that was difficult to conceal. Condensing star pill was successfully obtained, and he could finally avoid the danger of igniting the spark and break through to the 4th level source star safely. Looking at Chen Wei, who was giving a speech on the stage, Gu Zuwei said coldly to a sturdy and old-fashioned housekeeper, "Why do you want to stop me, miss? The ranking in a qualifying match is not worth your cancellation of the double spiritual contract," the housekeeper replied in a deep voice. Although he hoped that Miss could get the first place and successfully obtain the Nixing pill, the double spiritual contract on Miss must not be cancelled anyway. That is the final bottom line. But I failed, Gu Zuwei murmured. A temporary failure is nothing. Compared with the present, the future is more important. After all, you are. I hope so. Gu Zuwei glanced at the housekeeper and interrupted him. Unlike other beast-taming families, the Gu family, which has inherited the Beidao meditation method from generation to generation, is not an exaggeration to say that every beast-tamer is a human-shaped spiritual beast. Even without a contracted pet, they can defeat the same-level beasts with their own strength. Of course, if the Gu family beastmasters, who already have outstanding spiritual power, are paired with suitable spiritual pets, they can exert strength far beyond their own several times, and Gu Zuwei happens to be the most outstanding direct descendant of the Gu family with the most outstanding spiritual talent. It is said that she has the spiritual power comparable to that of a young overlord as soon as she was born. As long as she moves her mind, she can make everything around her float in the air. This incredible spiritual talent is even far better than her ancestors. However, too much spiritual power is easy to get out of control and interfere with the meditation practice of the Beastmaster, especially those newborn children whose minds are not yet mature. In order to allow Gu Zuwei to grow better, the Gu family specially used the double spiritual contract to seal most of the vast spiritual power in her body, and even took a Kingston Ice Fox as one of the seals, so as to ensure that she can smoothly advance to the 6th level king in the future. Despite this, even if most of the spiritual power is sealed, resulting in a significant decline in her own strength, Gu Zuwei is still a well-known top genius of this generation in Donghu country. It's so boring. We can't fight with all our strength in this competition. Gu Zuwei looked at Chen Wei, who is receiving the award and stepping down from the stage in the distance, with some regret in her eyes. To be honest, she didn't choose to retreat because of the housekeeper's dissuasion, but she realized that even if she lifted the seal, she was still not Chen Wei's opponent. And it was this unexpected discovery that made Chen Wei choose to surrender in the end. She was not afraid of losing, but she was afraid that she would be left behind by Chen Wei because of the negative impact of the double spiritual contract. Interesting guy, hiding deeper than me. Retracting her gaze from Chen Wei, Chen Wei went on stage according to the process of the qualifying round to receive the reward for the second place in the qualifying round, the 5th level top grade elixir, Juxing Dan. P.S. Thank you Shenwu Yu Guang for the 500 starting coins rewarded, and thank you book friend 20210911014123842 for the 300 starting coins rewarded. Thank you for your support. Thank you all readers for voting and subscribing. Chapter 250 Elite 3-Piece Set. In order to celebrate Chen Wei's victory and her own successful admission to Rosewood University, Yu Zilman specially booked a private room at Nanshan Feast. As the most famous old brand restaurant in Nanjiang Province, the ingredients in Nanshan Feast are all taken from beasts of elite races and above. It has 36 famous dishes, among which the most famous delicacy is dragon liver and phoenix marrow. If it weren't for Nanshan Feast respecting the privacy of customers and not letting the news out, I really wouldn't dare to have dinner with you, a big celebrity, to avoid some bad news about you. Yu Zilman poured a glass of wine for Chen Wei. Not really, just a meal. Chen Wei smiled. Yu Zilman glanced at Chen Wei with a strange expression. Do you know how popular you are now? Your social account alone has gained tens of millions of fans today. Hearing this, Chen Wei was slightly stunned, opened his mobile phone to check his account, and found that his fans had reached more than 15 million, and even his Q-Circle account Avidar had a V added under it. There was also an official certification title under the account ID. Zidane University Beast Tamer College Entrance Examination Champion. These are just temporary popularity. Chen Wei shook his head and didn't care anymore. Every year, the top scorer in the college entrance examination who won the first place in the assessment of the 5 famous schools in Donghua will set off a wave of popularity for a period of time. As long as he stays quiet for a while, the media spotlights that pursue popularity will turn to other beastmasters. Compared with these boring things, he wants to focus his attention on the food in front of him, dragon liver and phoenix marrow, a delicious dish made with the dragon liver of the Qinggang dragon lizard and the light-singing yellow phoenix. After eating it, the beastmaster can significantly improve his physical fitness and energy. Yu Zilman was a little surprised. I don't know about other places, but you are now a well-known celebrity in Hanyang Province, especially in Shushan City. Because of your unprecedented victory, Shushan City will hold a grand celebration in the next 3 days. There is such a thing. Chen Wei was a little surprised. This is a bit too exaggerated. In the past 2,000 years, there have been dozens of students in Shushan City who have been admitted to Rosewood University, if not hundreds. But you are the only one who has won the top prize in the Beast Taming College Entrance Examination of Rosewood University. The Shushan City Beast Taming Association has only held a 3-day celebration, which is very restrained. At this point, Yu Zilman looked at Chen Wei deeply. As the saying goes, when one person succeeds, everyone else will benefit. I, who was ranked low and should have been rejected, was admitted to Rosewood University in the end. This must have something to do with Chen Wei. Compared with such a great favor, the huge debt of 260 million that Chen Wei owed me is obviously not worth mentioning. At this time, Chen Wei noticed that Yu Zilman's eyes were a little wrong, and hurriedly reminded him, if you don't move your chopsticks, I will eat up this dragon liver soon. Eat more, I'll order more if it's not enough. Yu Zilman smiled brightly, then picked up her phone to continue placing orders. Even if a plate of dragon liver and phoenix marrow costs 5 million star coins, this high price is almost comparable to some 4th level elixirs. It was a bit expensive, but if she could win Chen Wei's favor, she wouldn't mind ordering a few more. After all, after she was admitted to Zidane University, the beast taming resources provided by the family every month increased several times. In her opinion, things that can be solved with star coins are not a big deal at all. The top scorer of Zidane University's Beast Taming College Entrance Examination is officially announced. The unprecedented Kongming Frost Dragon swept the 2 king pets. The strongest genius beast tamer in Shushan City in 2,000 years was born. That afternoon, the news of Chen Wei's victory was on the front page of major media official websites. The special evolution of the cold jade snake, Kongming Frost Dragon, attracted the attention of many beast tamers. I was at the scene and just finished eating melons. I have to say that the Kongming Frost Dragon is really strong. It's just that the finals were a bit boring. The pets of both sides just stared at each other for a few seconds before the game ended. It was not at all entertaining. It is said that the Kongming Frost Dragon is the evolution of the Cold Jade Snake. I wonder if it is too late for me to contract the Cold Jade Snake now. I'm not saying that novices without spiritual talents should not expect to successfully contract the Cold Jade Snake. This kind of arrogant extraordinary race is more difficult to contract than some docile elite races, although many Beastmasters have reminded them. As the news about Chen Wei fermented, a large number of Beastmasters still focused their attention on the Cold Jade Snake. You know, in Donghua, which worships real dragons, every pure-blooded dragon is a dream pet that ordinary Beastmasters dare not even think about. Even if the news says it is a special case, there are many passionate young people who are full of confidence in themselves. Others can do it, why can't I? So on that day, the number of Beastmasters who failed to contract the Cold Jade Snake increased dramatically. Chen Wei, who is unaware of this, returned to the separate training room in the hotel room after dinner, and then took out the prize for the qualifying competition from the star ring. In the white jade bottle, the pill, as white and flawless as the bright moon, exuded an alluring pill fragrance. Chen Wei sniffed it gently, and a trace of satisfaction flashed in his eyes. The Nixing pill that he had been thinking about was finally in his hands. For the Beastmaster, igniting the Source Star Spark to break through to the 4th level is a difficult level. Every Beastmaster will prepare some pills in advance before breaking through to prevent his own life from being in danger. For example, the 4th level middle grade pill, Jian pill, prevents the Beastmaster from igniting the star fire for a long time when the source power is insufficient when breaking through. The 4th level top grade pill, Xingyin pill, increases the power of the star fire so that the source star can be reshaped and sublimated. The 4th level top grade, Huobi pill, improves the Beastmaster's fire resistance and prevents the Beastmaster from dying from the burning of the star fire. These 3 valuable elixirs are called Elite 3-piece set by Beastmasters. They are essential elixirs for high-level Beastmasters to become Elite Beastmasters. Before the Middle Ages, compared with the supernatural martial arts, Beastmasters were just minor paths and were not taken seriously by humans. At that time, the success rate of Beastmasters breaking through the 4th level and igniting the spark was 50%, and the mortality rate was 10%. That is to say, among 10 Beastmasters who ignited the spark to break through, only 5 of them could successfully advance, and the other 5 failed or even died. But in the recent ancient times, when Beastmasters began to flourish, Zhang Jiazi, a deeply saddened Liao Danchi, master alchemist, spent his life to create these 3 elixirs because his 3 wives all died after failing to ignite the spark. So far, with this Elite 3-piece set, the success rate of Beastmasters breaking through the 4th level and igniting the spark has reached 70%, and the mortality rate has dropped to 0.01%. Don't underestimate this 20% increase in probability. In order to obtain this valuable Elite 3-piece set and become an Elite Beastmaster, many senior Beastmasters with ordinary qualifications choose to join the arms of the Beastmaster family, and even sign a contract with a maximum work period of 30 years. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.